The Jackrabbit Pregame Show, presented by Sanford Health. Here for all, here for good.
It is a Chamber of Commerce day on the eastern side of the Mount Rushmore State as South Dakota State looks to round out non-conference play a perfect 4-0. To do it, they must turn back a group of travel-tested road warriors out of Erie, Pennsylvania, the Lakers of Mercyhurst University. Hi friends, Tyler Merriam alongside the Hall of Famer Curtis Riggs. Great to have you with us this afternoon. No football game a week ago for South Dakota State coach. Improvement week, as the Jackrabbits call it. As a coach, when you have a bye week, what are you looking for?
Yeah, you're looking to physically and more importantly mentally get cleaner, sharper, and more execution that's at a level where these penalties on these third downs aren't costing the team anymore.
Well, coaches love to get the report cards out, particularly during an off week. So let's turn to our coach with the report card on the offense. And we look at some of the numbers the Jackrabbits and Eric Eidnes' unit has put together, but it really does start with the play of the O-line.
Yeah, and that's something people don't think about. But when you're excelling in the run and pass, it's because you're winning in the trenches. And Chase Mason would be the first one to point that out.
And still, I marvel at this. Leading the nation in time of possession, but that third down offensive conversion rate, just 24%.
Yeah, and it tells you, though, that they're doing really well on first and second down and not as many third down opportunities.
Let's turn the page and look at the Jackrabbits defensively so far. Reese Kirschenman had surgery, according to head coach Dan Jackson, so he's out for the year, but that Jackrabbit depth of the front seven is really carrying the bell.
Yeah, we don't want to mislead you. That is a big loss, but their depth on the D-line and also behind them, those linebackers, their front seven is very good. They can platoon and still be a
Mercyhurst, the visitor,
no matter who they have in there.
That's a look at South Dakota State, how the Jackrabbits have arrived at 3-0. Now let's look at the other sideline and the Lakers of Mercyhurst. And for the visitors, it starts with the quarterback, the diminutive southpaw, Adam Urena.
Yeah, he's the catalyst of this offense. He's not flashy. In fact, if people saw him down on the field, they wouldn't believe he's an FCS quarterback. He's maybe 5'10", 175 pounds, but he is the one that will keep this going. And he's not going to do it with his legs. He's going to organize and he's going to make throws.
Urena averaging among the best in the country as far as passing yardage per game. This is a Mercyhurst team that has played Sacramento State on the road, Youngstown State on the road, shut out Montana State on the road in the second half last week, but lost to the Bobcats 17-0 thanks to 3 empty trips in the red zone. So it's South Dakota State and Mercyhurst to round out the non-conference. Kickoff from Brookings comes your way after this tailgate tip from Build Your Base. A halt to everything. There was a ton of excitement leading into the kickoff here after we've been waiting 2 weeks for Jackrabbit football to return, and Garcia Castaneda excites the crowd with a good return, and at the end of it, a Mercyhurst player goes down and still being looked at.
Frequently nowadays, I mean, the kickers are so good, they can put it right through the end zone. So kick returns are few and far between anymore, it seems like.
And Garcia Castaneda, a grad student who comes from Nebraska, and he had been struggling with some injuries. He was still able to play, but not 100%, getting closer to that, and we saw a glimpse of that.
Yeah, the coaches are very excited about him. They knew, though, there was some baggage with that coming in, that he had had injuries in his history. There could be a chance they may have to deal with that with any player. And you hate to give labels, but that does become a huge part of the recruiting process, though.
Ryan Remedio, the fourth-year head coach of the Mercyhurst Lakers, along with athletic training staffs from both teams and the Sanford Health medical team, all on hand here.
Media timeout.
And so as they tend to the injured player, we'll have a break in the action as well. South Dakota State and Mercyhurst just
live on Midco Sports. Find this game and all Coyote home games this season, also streaming over on Midco Sports Plus.
Tyler Merriam, Curtis Riggs, our Midco Sports crew on hand here at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium in Brookings. If you're joining us a little bit late, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda took the opening kickoff and returned it out near the 40-yard line, and a Mercyhurst player was injured on the return. He is number 7. There are 2 number 7s listed on the roster. We've been told by Emily Blunt, who is tremendous as one of the athletic communications folks from Mercyhurst, that is J.C. Cloutier, a redshirt sophomore, starting safety, third leading tackler on the team out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And you hear the crowd's response as he's being helped onto the cart. How hard is this as a player when you see a teammate suffer a significant injury? The game is stopped. You can see he's in an air cast there on his left leg. How hard is it to care for your teammate and just flick that switch because you got a game to play here in seconds?
Yeah, you go through all the mental aspects of it. You go through feeling terrible for your teammate, and then also the selfish thoughts of, oh my gosh, that's something that could happen to me at any time too. And then, yeah, you got to get back into focus, and that's where you need that good leader where, they seem to, with Urena, have that on the offensive side. I don't know about defensively. Same with the Jacks. I think Chase Mason has really exhibited that he is the guy in a leadership perspective for the Jacks this season.
Dakota Bank gives you this look at the Jackrabbits starting quarterback. 71% completion percentage, 11th best in the FCS. And the fifth-year senior out of Hurley, South Dakota, who has one more year of eligibility after this one, will hand it off on first down. And Julius Lawfridge is stopped shy of the line of scrimmage by Jeffrey Lavelle, the leading tackler on this squad with 27, the junior out of Hamburg, New York.
Well, and they're not fearing the Jacks because they were loaded up in the box. Even their free safety was at about 8 yards. Either the Jacks have a high tendency of run on first down, or they just don't, they're not scared of the Jacks stretching the field there.
Dakota Bank starting lineups, the 605 Hogs, who have performed well, and then the receiving core that is talented. Lawfridge, who ranks 9th in the country in rushing yards per game. Mason to the near sideline, catch made out of bounds on his own 46 as Graham Goring, the wide receiver, shoved out of bounds by Adonis Marshall, setting up 3rd and short.
And this was a great job. One of the best jobs I've seen of Goring catching with his hands. Watch the whip on this. Whew. That thing's coming out. That thing has a lot of sauce on it. But Goring reaching out with his hands. He's been a body catcher most of his career, and that's why a lot of balls, they'll bounce off sometimes. Good job getting his hands out there.
You see the Dakota Bank starting lineups for the visitors on defense. This is 3rd and 2 for the Jacks. They have struggled on 3rd down this year with a blitz. Mason over the middle, Goring, and he falls down, but he still is able to pick up the first down. The 5th-year senior out of Iowa City had 6 catches in the first 3 games, 2 on the first 3 plays, and leads to a conversion.
Yeah, and a great take by Mason. He had Ogrowski for a deep pass downfield, but he didn't want to wait. He didn't want to wait. He got Goring the ball, got the first down, continued to move the chains.
Jackrabbits were 9 of 37 on 3rd downs in the first 3 games, so that's a big conversion. New formation, stacked backfield. Ogrowski motions out of it. Mason on the roll, hits Goring again. That's 3 straight completions to Goring, who reaches the 40-yard line. Here's a young man who was a great lacrosse player growing up in Chicago, moved to Iowa City. They didn't offer the sport, so he said, well, I guess I'll play football. I think it's worked out.
And look for Coach Eisness, the offensive coordinator, come back to that formation. He motioned Ogrowski out, and a linebacker went out with him. That's not a running back going out there. That's your best receiver. They're going to come back to that and get that matchup again.
The old deal of the first time you run it sets it up for the next time.
Yeah.
So Lawfridge behind Mason in the pistol. Jacks, their opening drive from the 40. Off a play fake, letting it fly. And it's too far out in front of Lofted Ogrowski, well covered by Chris Thompson, the grad student out of Bakersfield, California.
As a coach, though, you're happy with that. You're okay with that. I shouldn't say happy. You're okay because Mason put it in a spot where only his guy could get to it. The coverage was excellent, but you still gave your guy to make a catch. They had no chance to make a play on the ball.
There's a look at Ryan Remedio in his 4th year as the head coach of Mercyhurst, a decade as an assistant first. He actually has his undergraduate degree from Minot State. Played linebacker there in the 07 and 08 seasons. So here is 3rd and short. Mason clapped twice. There was movement after the first clap, and whistles and flags.
Ball start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So it's Kenyon Bigbo, the right guard.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get a Philadelphia Eagles tush push false start, not called there for us because it was a late whistle and it was the umpire that blew the whistle, not one of the side judges.
The official announced second down. The board says third down, and the marker on the far side also says third. So we believe it's third down despite what Gregory Gumpf told us. So 3rd and 6 for South Dakota State. Early movement. Mercyhurst is offside. Free play. Mason takes a shot, and it's over the head of Ogroski. But again, the Jacks will get the 5 yards right back.
Yeah, nice job. Good job by Chase Mason taking the
Offside.
shot.
Defense, number 9. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Gives him that chance, but you see again right there, I mean, he barely even whipped that ball out there. And that thing was on a rope for about 40, 35 yards.
Kyler Lang, number 9, the man who was offside, and Eric Eidsness said he's the hardest guy to prepare for on this Mercyhurst team because of the way he lines up and attacks things. He's a little unorthodox, and it just causes you issues because you don't know what he's going to do from play to play.
Yeah, and he's that linebacker that can rush too, and those ones are the ones that are really valuable. And this is good to see that Jack's getting back to the run game with the push as they're getting tackled.
Lawfridge for 8, and he got touched after what, a half yard, and ends up getting a good 7+ afterwards to convert.
I think that's where the 605 Hogs really made their mark, was when Isaiah Davis, Pierre Strong, any of those would start to get tackled. You'd see all those linemen coming in and just start pushing you for another 5 yards. You watch, he gets stood up here, and here they come. Oh, great shot there.
Lawfridge averaging over 5 yards per carry and better than 113 per game. At the 33 of the Lakers, 1st down. Good pocket for Mason. Open man Bullock, who spins his way through Chris Thompson's tackle for a 1st down to the 21-yard line. That's a gain of 12.
Yeah, and Mason's just waiting for Gannon, the tight end, 88, to get across, and he's reading the middle linebacker. Middle linebacker chases Gannon. He hits that dig route right behind him.
Jackrabbits with tempo here at the 21 of the Lakers. Mason a one-step, and Ogroski with a diving grab to the 15. Boy, he keeps putting on a show. That's his 24th catch of the year.
I mean, he's the guy that's made Chase Mason's pass percentage so high, because catches like that are unbelievable for a 4-yard gain.
Mason, 5 out of 6. Here's the play before the Bullock.
I mean, they're going to hurry up here.
Lawfridge made one man miss, but could not evade the second man on the scene, as that was Colin Sheridan, the nose tackle who came down the line. 4th-year junior from White Oak, Pennsylvania.
Well, and a good job stretching that out. You can see they're really saying, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to throw at us. Right now, we're trying to stack everyone in the box and usually got to run right at them. Then when it's like that, it's tough to run to those edges.
Jacks are in the Integra Cooperative red zone. They have already converted 2 3rd downs on the drive. This is play number 10 of the march. They need to reach the 11. 4 receivers in the set. Mason throws high and incomplete. Jack Smith had a chance to make the grab, but couldn't quite hang on.
Yeah, and that is a tough ball. That's what we talked about. The ball has so much heat on it coming at you, and when it's high, it's really hard to get your fingers wrapped around that. It's going to ricochet right off your hands, and that's what we saw there. I thought he would come down to man-to-man coverage with Ogroski down here all by himself.
This is Eli Stater, 3 of 7 on the season in field goals. Holding is Max Pelham. And this will be a 36-yard try. And Stater draws it through to give South Dakota State the early lead.
Timeout on the field.
Stater's 4th field goal of the year gives the Jacks the early lead. Found on the northeast side of the South Dakota State campus this afternoon. The sun is shining bright and everything's just beaming today, Curtis.
Yeah, I would bet 80% of the fans, too, before this game, if we asked them where Mercyhurst was, none of them would get it right, but yet they're all here to watch the Jacks play. And that would be whether good or bad, and so they really got a bonus with a day like today.
Jackrabbits an 11-play, 43-yard 4-minute, 51-second drive. What'd you see out of the Jackrabbit offense, good and bad there?
Well, a good mix of run and pass, but again, that third down, that's a convertible third down. Chase has got to bring that down a little bit. Jack Smith's got to make that catch.
Ryan Harrington, the freshman from Ankeny, Iowa, performing the kickoff duties for South Dakota State. Good height. Returnable from the 4. Flag is down. Crossing the 30, Jason Woods, the redshirt freshman. It's a return of 35 yards, but again, multiple yellow hankies on the field, and will allow us to hear from Gregory Gumpf, our official, once again.
Yeah, one official has a much better arm than the other one.
During the return, holding, return team, number 84, 10-yard penalty from the foul. First down, Mercyhurst.
Shaquille Ferguson, sophomore wide receiver out of Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
That's a good point on that kickoff. He really popped that up high. They want them to have to return. They want to pin them in that 5 to 10 radius to have to get a return and keep them inside the 20. Worked out well here with the penalty.
Here's one of the best stories in college football. Adam Urena out of Chino Hills, California. In high school, he only threw 14 passes in his career, never started a game, was the third stringer for his first game ever in junior college at Citrus College. And now here he is starting in the FCS and making an impact. The first snap is a handoff to Brian Trobell, and very little room for him to maneuver.
Yeah,
and Isaiah Johnson made the stop.
Yeah, and they're not surprised by that shift right there to go to a wildcat formation. We saw in the notes, Coach Bergstrom said they're going to do this. They don't want him running with the ball. They'll move the running back right there.
That's one of the unique things. You see some quarterbacks that are not the tallest. Urena 5'9", but he's a pocket passer. He's not a runner. So in the wildcat look, he'll shift, and you'll see the direct snap like it was to Trobell. Here is a handoff, and it is Aaron Rodriguez this time to the 24. He'll pick up 5. Setting up third down, Chase Van Tol in the middle of it. Van Tol, Ullman, McShane, that Jackrabbit linebacking core. And it's beyond those 3, but they've been really good as we see the Dakota Bank starting offense.
Yeah, and having lanes for Urena to see and be able to throw downfield, it's got to be difficult at times for him in that pocket.
One thing to keep an eye on, Mercyhurst has used 9 different starting offensive linemen over the last 2 weeks because of injuries up front. That's a banged-up unit here on 3rd and 3. Urena takes the high snap pressure right up the middle, rolled away from one man and right into Kobe Claiborne, and that's never a good choice if you're a quarterback. That is 2 sacks on the season and 4 tackles for loss for the pride of Sioux City, Iowa.
Yeah, and Logan Green was right there too. I mean, we've talked so much about these 2 interior. Look at that push by Green. Oh, that's what gets Urena moving off his point, and Claiborne takes advantage of it. He's going over to the sideline telling Green, thank you for that one.
Those 2 play so well off each other, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, they've really been, it's hard to find really good active D tackles.
This is just the 7th punt of the season for Garrett McGuire, the fewest of any FCS punter. And Miles Taylor will not return it. He lets it bounce around, and the Lakers finally down it at the 45-yard line.
On the field.
So it's a punt of 37 yards, no return. Jackrabbit ball leading 3-0 on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard.
Sanford Health, the exclusive orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Jackrabbits.
During the break, the South Dakota State women's basketball team honored for winning the Summit League tournament once again last year. Aaron Johnston, a 9-time Summit League Coach of the Year. And we're right around the corner. Jackrabbit basketball here on Midco Sports coming up, both the men and women. Practiced for the first time earlier this week. They are getting ready to go for what should be an exciting year. Jackrabbits, possession number 2. It's a toss to James Basinger to open things. Boy, he got popped a couple of times there. First hit from Adonis Marshall. Second came from Lavelle. It's a gain of 4 for the freshman running back from Littleton, Colorado.
Yeah, good flow from Mercyhurst here. They're not as big, so they're probably going to run a little better from sideline to sideline here.
Do you like the tosses?
I think against these guys, it's one where you really want to run right at them. Now, Coach Eisnes could be saying these are things we got to get ready for Missouri Valley, and that's another aspect of games like this.
So 2nd and 6. The motion man, the tight end, Delahoy. Basinger again. He'll gain close to 5. It'll set up 3rd down and short.
You know, fans aren't excited by that run, but coaches are, because that's a freshman, and he's just sticking his nose right in there behind those linemen and trying to get 3 tough yards. Whereas in high school, he probably popped that outside and outran everybody.
So a brief look at Dan Jackson, the first-year head coach of South Dakota State. As he sees his offense line up with 2 tights right, 2 wides left, and Basinger behind Mason in the pistol on 3rd and short. Ogroski, the motion man, Basinger straight up the middle for a 1st down, ran through an arm tackle, and just keeps churning to the 39. That's 7 more for Basinger. 3 carries and a 1st down for the business economics major.
Well, and you saw the difficulty with King for Mercyhurst, that defensive end, that linebacker. They were double teaming him there even at one point.
It's Ryan Remedio again, the Mercyhurst head coach. Jackson, the 39 of the Lakers, already 3 out of 4 on 3rd downs today for Eric Eidsness' offense. Basinger for the 4th straight play. And he'll gain 3 to the 36.
Yeah, he just missed the gap there. He was 1 gap off there. He could have cut back just 1 more gap behind that. He might have been gone. He'll get a feel for that as he understands the flow of the defense. They're athletic too. I mean, as the offensive linemen run, those defensive linemen are going to run too.
There's a look at what Mason has done so far today through the air. Came into today 11th in the country in completion percentage at over 71%. He'll take a shot. Oh, what a grab by Alex Bullock, but he couldn't hang on.
Why? I mean, are we questioning why you can only lift 1 hand? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it was a great attempt at a catch, but there's a reason why. I mean, it could be he was holding off the defender too, though. It could have been him. Yeah, it was him in good call and incomplete, or good no call, actually. At some point, you got to release that, though, and go get that with both hands.
And that was one thing Eric Eidsness told us this week. Mercyhurst is very handsy on the perimeter. They are physical when it comes to man-to-man coverage. Mason, a seed to the far side, and there is no question this time that Bullock hangs on, and half of that was in self-defense for 11 yards.
He had no choice but to catch that one. I mean, this is perfect. I just watched this fire out, and right there, perfect.
And that's a difficult throw, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's when you see quarterbacks throw behind the receiver a lot, and it gets tipped or even intercepted. He put that one right in front of him, so he had no choice but to run right into the ball.
You've said it time and again, the thing that's most impressive of Mason arguably isn't the 71% completions, it's where the 29% of the incompletions end up.
Yeah, and he is really developed. Coach Eidsness done a great job with him, and right there.
What an adjustment in midair, and Alex Bullock makes the grab in the end zone, the Omaha native with his 2nd touchdown of the year.
Well, it seemed like the first drive of the game was Goring's, and now this one's Bullock. Coach Eidsness got packages for the receivers each drive.
28-yard touchdown grab, his longest as a Jackrabbit. Here's another look, Rixie.
Watch him flip the hips. Toughest part right there. He's running vertically, has to flip the hips all the way around, and this time he gets both hands on the ball and finishes the job.
He had 16 catches in 4 years in Lincoln, and they applaud his route running, but they also say he is a playmaker. That's a pretty good combination.
Well, and great size, too. I mean, Chase Mason's got to be thinking the radius here is big.
Bullock, Ogroski, Goring, they're all 6'2". You don't see a lot of wide receiving cores that all have that kind of height.
Yeah, and I think, you know, after SDSU's gone through the experimentation of Winicky and the Yankees and these bigger, more physical receivers, they're the ones as quarterback you really love to throw to.
You mentioned Winicky. We should tell the audience Jake Winicky, Brian Witzman, both inducted into the Jackrabbit Sports Hall of Fame earlier on today. They are here. They will each stop by the booth. We anticipate Mr. Witzman will join us in the second quarter and Mr. Winicky in the fourth quarter. They've got some stories to share.
They do. I had the chance to work with Jake at a camp with him and Chris Strevler, two legends in the Missouri Valley, and what an awesome human being. I mean, so genuine and just loved working with the kids and just being a part of it. You would have thought it was his camp. You would have thought he got invited to come be a part of the camp. He was so excited to be there.
Winicky's one of those guys who, when you leave the conversation, you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
Not everybody makes that kind of an impact on you.
Yeah, and his quarterback was a good one too. Well, in particular, Taryn Christian, who, when you go back and look at his numbers, what he accomplished.
Well, and you mentioned Winicky. There's a tight end named Goddard in the middle of that, too, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Here's Woods from the 4. Broke one tackle, then got bumped down before the 25-yard line. Riding into the turf was Miles Green, the freshman cornerback, after 18 yards. So Mercyhurst's offense, this is a team that was one of the best in the country in time of possession.
Kicking team, number 9. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down, Mercyhurst.
The Jacks lead the nation in time of possession. Mercyhurst at 35 minutes a game was 4th. In fact, they've had 5 drives this year of 7 or more minutes, as you see the Dakota Bank defensive lineup for South Dakota State. So this is a little unique for Mercyhurst to be this deep into a game and only have 3 plays.
Well, and that stat you said about only their 7th punt, and the schedule they've played is amazing.
This is the 4th road game of the season already, 4th different time zone. Urena, pass high and intercepted. Miles Taylor with a convoy, and he's out of bounds inside the 20.
Yeah, this is a 5-9 interception right here. And you'll see this in the replay. Urena, he steps up. He can't step up anymore. The line is pushed back into him. He can't see. He's thrown where he thinks the receiver is, and that's why it sails high. Watch him here. He gets stuck behind the offensive line right there. And you see he can't throw, and it sails on him.
So the return covers 31 yards, and the Jackrabbits will begin in the Actegra Cooperative red zone. And South Dakota State has had some issues in the red zone. Only looking at the season numbers, the Jacks are 14 of 19 in the red zone, but only 10 touchdowns. Here's that formation again you alluded to, Curtis, with Ogroski behind the quarterback. Early movement and a flag.
Wide open.
And there is Ogroski, and he can waltz into the end zone.
Now we'll see what the penalty is, but yeah, this is what we saw earlier. They don't adjust to this motion. You knew Coach Eisness was going to come back to this.
Offside. Defense, number 95. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
They actually even adjusted worse this time than the first time. They didn't even have a linebacker go out with them this time. They let him go out all by himself.
Ogroski with his 25th reception of the season. 5th in the country in that stat. The Jackrabbits cash in off the turnover. The extra point by Stater is good. And what a start for South Dakota State. Just what you want coming off improvement week, huh?
Yeah, and you watch, he motions out here and nothing from the defense. They don't respond at all. They got to be moving out. The corner move out, the safety come on to the set receiver. You don't get any of that. Now, fans should know, though, coaches see what happened earlier, but you got to give credit to the defensive coaches, too. They see those things, too. Well, Mercyhurst did not, and Coach Eisness, he did the same play, same motion, and Chase thought, oh my gosh, how could he be that wide open, and got an easy touchdown there out of it.
This Jackrabbit team, one of 3 Missouri Valley football teams that are in competition today as we look at the Willikers standings, and North Dakota State hosting South Dakota at a game in Fargo that has a lot of attention. Everybody else in the Valley, though, they have an off week this week, and then things really heat up in 7 days.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about that North Dakota State USD game and how if North Dakota State gets up, they're not going to let up, and that's what it sounds like. And I think it's just about halftime. They're up 28-0 or close to that. And they probably will keep that hammer down the second half too.
And the Jackrabbits will open up league play next Saturday at Youngstown State. The Penguins are playing well and have a win over this Mercyhurst team, 3-1 to start the year.
Yeah, and a tough place to go play too.
Kick into the end zone for a touchback. This Mercyhurst team, again, has done some really good things, competitive against teams such as Montana State, Sacramento State, Youngstown. But right now, Curtis, 1 total yard and 15 in penalty yards. That's not the recipe to win here in Brookings.
Yeah, you kind of figured. I mean, I think SDSU is comparable to Montana State defensively. And they really struggled against that style of defense. It's one of those very physical, very good defensive line, going to really get after you up front. How do you respond to that? Well, right now you're seeing what their kryptonite is.
So Urena overlooks the 4-man front. This is the 5th snap for Mercyhurst today. Play fake. Catch made out in space. And despite a big hit, Evan Van Dyke hangs on for 11 yards and a first down. Sophomore wide receiver out of Orlando, Florida.
And you see how you protect Urena. Just a gimme flash fake of the run game and get rid of the ball quick here. And now he's able to throw in open space. Accurate passer.
Taylor was the first man there, then McShane and Dante Johnson laid big hits on him. But again, 11 yards, first down of the afternoon for the Lakers. Now they do that shift. Brian Trobell, the senior, will hand it to Urena, who will throw to the far sideline, and barely inside the boundary is Van Dyke. And that will be a gain of 10 and a first down. There's a lot of things for you to look at on this one.
Yeah, it's a wildcat look. It's just now they're going to create a rollout pass for Urena. That's really how you look at it. But it's a tough throw. He's rolling to his right. He's left-handed. He has to flip those hips around. So it's just a rollout pass at this point, but a nice throw.
And again, Van Dyke's just hanging out there, one step inside the boundary, almost got lost. 2 backs here for Urena. He'll hand it back off to Trobell, who did a good job just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Claiborne in the center of that for South Dakota State, but it wasn't just him.
Oh, and Claiborne was 3 yards in the backfield. And then once he figured out who had the ball, he tracked him down.
He had enough time to get back there and look right, look left, like he was ready to cross the street like you teach your kids.
He's probably thinking, and this is defensive lineman mentality, I'm going to take that handoff one of these times.
Every defender wants to take the handoff. Look at this formation.
You got to watch a double pass here.
Trobell will keep straight up the middle.
And that's exactly what they're trying to get the defense to respect. Hey, that's our quarterback out here, and he's lining up behind the ball carrier. They could throw out to him for a double pass. Got to be cautious of that.
So if you have a quarterback that's not a running quarterback and you want the defense to honor him, it's ways like that to make them do it.
Yeah, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to hold that corner and then the safety. The safety is the guy that you really want to hold so he doesn't get into the run game.
Here's 3rd and 6. Lakers have failed on their only 3rd down so far today, 43% for the year. The motion man is Ryland Davison, excuse me. The pass is caught. It'll be a first down and more. It's been a busy first quarter for Evan Van Dyke. He had 6 receptions in the opener at Youngstown. That is his 3rd catch already today.
Yeah, and it was a great route concept for the coverage SDSU was in, and they catch Kobe Bretz just back deep. They run a simple snag route and sit in the open area, and it takes Bretz a little while to get downhill.
Final minute opening quarter, the Jackrabbits went right down the field on the opening drive, forced a 3 and out. Scored a touchdown, interception, touchdown, and it's 17-0. And now Mercyhurst on the move. Throwback, this is Kerbacher, the wide receiver, who lets it fly, and the ball is nearly intercepted. It was Dante Johnson who had his hand on it. You have to give some credit out there to the running back, who actually essentially broke up the play as a defender in the form of Aaron Rodriguez. Beg your pardon, Brian Trobell.
Yeah, here's my view on trick plays, okay? The receiver is a receiver because he's good at catching the ball and not good at throwing the ball. And a DB is a DB, that he's not a receiver because he can't catch, and he's going to get a PBU right there. And when both of those they got to capitalize on.
When the wide receiver is falling backwards too because there's a fender in his face, that's not a good recipe for success either.
Shouldn't throw it, and SDSU, they got to pick that one off.
Urena had nowhere to go with the football and simply threw it into the ground to set up 3rd down.
Yeah, it's actually a good decision, but you can see his fear of running. I mean, he is not a runner, and that showed it right there because he could have got 1 or 2 yards.
A Curtis Riggs-like total of negative 392 career rushing yards for Adam Urena.
Boy, thanks for bringing that up.
I was trying to give you some company there, my friend. Here's 3rd down and 10. Urena floats the screen, and what a play defensively by Nick Wells, starting for the injured Reese Kirshenman, and he read the screen beautifully and wrapped him up shy of the line of scrimmage. That was Camden Lewis, the tight end.
Wow, SDSU had a lot of stuff going on there, and everything was going the opposite way. And Wells, thankfully, had a zone drop and was able to shoot by the offensive line because that was a well-called play for the stunt that SDSU had going on.
Mercyhurst has attempted the most 4th downs of any team in the nation, 9 of 17. Now, they don't have to snap this. There's only 5 seconds in the quarter. And Urena didn't get it off.
Yeah, you got to at least come with a hard count there. Try to get an easy 5.
It's the end of the first quarter of play.
So we've played a quarter on the Agtegra Cooperative scoreboard. An impressive start to things for 2nd-ranked South Dakota State. A 17-0 lead over Mercyhurst. Inducted 6 new members, including that one, Brian Witzman, who started every game in his 4 seasons as a Jackrabbit on the offensive line. You see him accepting the plaque from the Director of Athletics at South Dakota State, Justin Sell. Went on to a 10-year National Football League career, and here he is in the booth with Curtis Riggs and myself. Brian, congratulations. Welcome back.
Pleasure to be here.
What has it been like to be back in Brookings? Because you don't get back here very often.
It's kind of just throws you right back in to the glory days when you were back here. Had a good support crew from former teammates who were there with me, and yeah, it's just such an honor to be back and honored like this.
We'll talk with Witz as this goes along. This is a big 4th down play, though. 8 to go to open up the 2nd quarter, and this play is stopped dead. Somebody moved early on the Mercyhurst line, and that'll be 5 yards the other way.
False start. Offense, number 6. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
What's it been like for you to see so many teammates? A great contingent back for you and Jake Winicky to go in earlier.
Oh yeah, I don't get to see these guys too often, so it's just a cherry on top of the great occasion to be able to catch up with the guys that have 2-3 kids and aren't necessarily able to make it out to Chicago.
Here is 4th down and 13 for the Lakers on the opening play of our 2nd quarter. Urena got rid of it, finds a man, and that very likely is a 1st down. Reception made on the far side, Curtis, by Dylan Evans, the leading receiver.
Well, and a great job stepping up in the pocket. They can't give him a big window like that. A 5'9" quarterback, he needs that to be able to see downfield. But good choice not to run. And most quarterbacks would have taken off and ran there for the first. He sits back and waits, lets his receivers do the work.
We'll have this 1st down play, then we'll talk more with Brian Witzman, the former Jackrabbit offensive lineman out of Wisconsin, who was inducted into the Jackrabbit Sports Hall of Fame earlier on today. Urena will hand it off. Van Tol dives in, and that is a 1-yard stop. You played here with the grass, Coughlin Alumni Stadium. To see how this place has grown, to see this stadium, what's it mean?
Oh, I mean, it means everything. When we were playing, they talked about how we're building a culture and building something bigger, and to finally see that what we were building towards in full physical form is beautiful.
2nd down for the Lakers and 9. 11th play of this march for Mercyhurst. Urena takes a shot, and did he hang on? Yes, it's a touchdown for Evan Van Dyke, who has had a tremendous 1/4.5. 2nd scoring grab of the season for the Orlando, Florida native.
A great throw. I'm perfect throw. They run a snag route with the slot receiver and just a sideline route going vertical, and he puts it right there for his receiver to make a chance, make a play.
Well, you see why Urena is so well liked by his teammates. I mean, it's 17-0, and he's stepping up, making big plays here. He is unfazed.
Well, and you saw the excitement, even from the offensive line. They're turning around, giving him high fives and fired up.
So extra point coming. This is Max Young, who's made 9 of 10 on the year. He boots it through, and the Lakers are on the board. Witz, can you hang around for a little while?
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll talk more with Brian Witzman in a moment, but Mercyhurst finds a way to respond. A 4th down conversion, the Van Dyke scoring grab, and it's 17-7 SDSU. 17-7, South Dakota State on top of Mercyhurst. Opening moments of the second quarter. Tyler Merriam, Curtis Riggs, and joining us up here in the booth, the newest member of the Jackrabbits Sports Hall of Fame, Brian Witzman. And you played with Eric Eisnes as a coach. He's now back as offensive coordinator. So tell us about what you learned from Eric Eisnes and the impact he made on you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had some very good offensive years when he was here. You think of Zach Sender's success. You think of
back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons.
Yes, and obviously had some good quarterbacks to go with it, but he built a culture of scoring and of offense when we were here, and it's exciting to see him back.
And he did that under the guidance of John Stiglmeyer. You made reference to Stig during your induction speech as well, and just what he meant is here is Isaiah Garcia Castaneda faking the reverse. Ran into half of his own man, and the other half the play made by Trevell Wright, the linebacker, shy of the 20. But you made mention to Stig and what he meant to you. I mean, you played for a lot of football coaches in the NFL too. There aren't many like John Stiglmeyer.
Yeah, I think Stig is somebody who took a different approach. He cared more about your character and building you the right way. Obviously, that evolved into winning from that, but winning that didn't necessarily come first before character development, and that's really what sets Stig apart.
Jackrabbits take over 1st and 10 at their own 17. Loffridge on the run for close to 4. What was it like blocking for center?
I remember there were some wide runs where I'd be running towards the sideline, and I just knew center was going to peek around the edge right before I got there. And I mean, you remember those long burst runs where he had 60, 70 yards where you just have to be on the field for 2 plays and you just go chill on the sideline after. I like that part.
I'll bet it made the Sunday film review a little easier.
Oh, yeah.
Here's 2nd down and 6. Loffridge setting up a 3rd down and short. So 10 years in the NFL, but what people don't realize now, and they can see you look great, you're doing triathlons now. How did this all start?
You know, I was just trying to find something competitive to do after I called it up, and triathlon. I'm trying to do a High Rocks in November, which is kind of like a hybrid athlete kind of competition. More for the little guys, but you know, I try to do anything I set my mind to. So
you are a Renaissance man, Witz. Jackrabbits remain in the huddle here with the play clock running down, and Dan Jackson's going to have to call a timeout.
Timeout.
Witz, can you hang out for
South
a little
Dakota
bit longer?
State.
Oh, yeah.
All right, a couple more questions to ask the new Hall of Famer when we come
be a
back.
full media
Jackrabbits in a
timeout.
timeout with a 3rd and short coming up. Early moments of the second quarter here on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard. It's 17-7.
This game on Midcoast Sports is presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different.
Welcome back to Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. South Dakota State, a 17-7 lead over Mercyhurst. Big play coming up here, though. It is 3rd down and a little more than 2 for the SDSU offense. Tyler Merriam, Curtis Riggs, and Brian Witzman up here. We'll continue our chat with the former Jackrabbit offensive lineman who was inducted into the Jackrabbit Sports Hall of Fame earlier on today. But this is a big play for SDSU, though. 4 out of 5 on 3rd down so far. Mason rolls away from pressure, and Bullock with the grab. He's out of bounds on the far side. 4th reception for Bullock, and Curtis, the Jacks on 3rd and short are 4 for 4 in executing today.
Yeah, and that's been a running down situation for them previously, so a quick little rollout, nice easy throw, good play design.
All right, now Witz, my producer Carolyn Rosinski will not allow you to get away if we don't talk about your time on The Bachelorette.
You know, it was brief. It was
Seems to be popular for SDSU
yes,
players.
No, it can be popular. Dale Moss had a little bit more success on the show. That I had a little more success in the NFL, so I'll take that.
I love your outlook on it. Balance the scales a little bit here.
Yeah.
This is Loffridge. And he runs well out to the 37-yard line. How did something like that come to be? Did you get a phone call? Did you apply to do this?
No, I definitely would not apply. It was something reached out to me. I was in a point towards the end of my career where I didn't know I was going to be going again, and I was a little confused, and they had me sign some papers, and the rest was history. So.
All right, what's keeping you busy these days besides being a triathlete?
You know, being a triathlete, I have a business I'm working on. I have some world travel I'm going on. So,
Loffridge will get the first down. Good effort there for a gain of 5. And you mentioned traveling. How many countries have you been to?
I think 34.
34.
So I got to catch up to my age. I got to get to one more this year, and then hopefully keep that pace. So.
Do you feel 34, 35?
You know, my left knee feels about 65, but the rest of me feels, I think, in my 20s. So.
What was the most rewarding part of your time in the National Football League? Because you had a lot of different places you got to compete for.
Oh yeah, I think it was just getting a taste of everything. Saw a lot of very impactful players in the NFL.
Mason with a good pocket. Incomplete pass, but here come multiple flags looking for Ogroski. Inez Jordan, the junior corner out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was on the coverage.
Well, and you hope
Pass
Ogroski's
interference.
okay.
Defense, number 13, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic, first down.
Now Ogroski pointing to his right shoulder and asking to check out as we see the replay.
Yeah, he comes down hard on it.
Was a great pocket.
It's a good spot. Ogroski, he just never even has a chance to make a play on the ball there.
So the Jacks with the penalty have it at the 43 of the Lakers, trying to extend a 10-point lead off the transitioning program. This is year 2 of 4 for Mercyhurst on the move from D2 to D1. Stretch play for Loffridge. Minimal gain as Braylon Beckwith came up from his safety position, sophomore from Canal Winchester, Ohio. What's the one thing you've walked around this stadium? You were, of course, at Club 71 earlier today that you've, man, I wish I had this when we were here. Is it the stadium, or is there some smaller thing we're not thinking of?
I mean, I feel like it's the facilities, the facilities for the players. You walk into there, and there's a lot of room for camaraderie, a lot of room where we didn't really have that space to develop a bond.
Mason throws to the right side behind Garcia Castaneda, who made a nice adjustment and hauls it in right at the sticks.
Yeah, great catch. Flipped his hips around, still able to get the first down there. That's what we were talking about earlier. What's difficult with that throw right there, Tyler?
And again, getting healthier is the grad student out of 29 Palms, California.
Have you been able to challenge any of your teammates, former teammates, to participate in these triathlons with you?
You know, I think they're a little bit busy with the kids. I might
Not many takers. Yeah.
Not many takers.
Who would be the best?
Ooh, let's see.
Benedetto?
I mean Zenner.
Of course, that's an obvious answer.
And now he's a sports agent. What do you think of making that career choice?
Boy, nice play in the end zone by Braylon Beckwith, knocking that pass of Mason's away.
I mean, he's got a plethora of knowledge wherever he applies it.
Yeah.
And obviously knows a lot of the game, being a former NFL player and knowing getting undrafted, but also succeed in the league, and I mean succeeding as a white running back in the NFL, which is tough.
And Zenner did yoga.
He did
Zenner
some yoga.
Slept. He took naps in the locker room before games. Just a very unique individual. But when you run for 2,000 yards, you can be unique. Delahoy couldn't hang on to the throw along the line of scrimmage. It'll set up 3rd down.
He's actually done some, I don't know if you've heard of Wim Hof. but it's this breathwork cold plunge kind of vibe where it's pretty intense actually. Zenner did a, I don't know, 6-8 week course of it a few years ago. He definitely dabbles in all that stuff.
I'm not surprised. He still contends that he had frostbite for that playoff game at Montana State. This is 3rd down for the Jackrabbits. They are 5 of 6 on 3rd down today after being one of the worst in the country in the first 3 games. Wide open, 1st down and more. Jack Smith inside the 5, the Sioux Falls Lincoln product, who still holds 12 state receiving records with his biggest grab as a Jackrabbit.
Yeah, that's his 2nd big catch we've seen, but this one, it's a high ball coming across. Makes a great grab. You can see how badly he wanted that touchdown, though.
Jacks are in the Agtegra Cooperative red zone. They've been in there twice, and they've scored on both occasions. From the 3. Only one wide out in the set, and it's Goring to the top of your picture. Loffridge drags 2 Lakers to the 1. Couldn't quite finish it off. Kyler Lang was the first Laker in there.
We had a flag here. Like pulling people off the pile, probably.
As they're pulling everybody off, the flag became visible at the goal line. So the clock has been stopped, so the officials, led by Gregory Gumpf, who actually was a baseball player at the University of Toledo, our white hat, consulting with the rest of his crew.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, South Dakota State, number 4. That penalty enforced 15 yards from the end of the run, 2nd down. Please reset the game clock to 7:19. 7:19 on the game clock. That's number 4's first unsportsmanlike conduct towards disqualification.
It's David Alpers, the tight end from Sioux Falls.
Yeah, and he's one that plays on the edge. You'll see him most plays playing through the echo of the whistle and trying to get even a little bit more out of it.
Did you play through the echo of the whistle, Witzman?
I play right up to it. But
you also never held, right? Fans saw a replay, didn't like it, and are booing. And now we have early movement again. So back-to-back penalties for the Jacks.
Ball start, offense, number 10, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's Delahoy.
Yeah, just a little flinch. You could tell he was going to go down that seam route. He was seeing touchdown.
Well, Eric Ides just told us earlier this week, he said part of this, he's brought this up multiple times. We have such a young tight end room. That's a little bit of the personnel groupings. We're trying to get everybody in to develop depth there and get them some valuable reps because we're going to need them as we get into the heart of this season, into the postseason as well. Mason on 2nd and long. He'll take off and he'll slide. After a gain of close to 5, it'll set up 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, and something we have not seen him do much of today at all, which is probably a good thing. And this one, he runs very controlled right here. Last year, we would have saw him try to run in head first and get 3 more extra yards.
Other thing he's had to do a lot more of, Eric Ides has challenged him to read things at the line of scrimmage and make calls. He hasn't had to do as much of that the first 3 games.
Yeah, and I'm sure they want to get to a point where they start to check protections, look at tendencies of blitz packages, and he's going to have to make changes at the line.
13th play of this drive. Jacks dominating time of possession this afternoon. Mason over the middle, Bullock the catch inside the 10, down near the 7.
Yeah, and that's a call where you're hoping to get closer for the field goal, possibly break a tackle, get in for the end zone. Nice catch, though, by Bullock.
All right, one last thing, Witz, before we let you run here on this field goal try. Just what has South Dakota State meant to you?
You know, actually going back to the flag, my first snap in my first snap in college at Delaware was a false start.
All goes up from there, huh?
Yeah, so kind of just building off adversity and
did Coach Stig write that on the
he did not remind
clipboard?
me, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a program where it's not where you start. I think we have a lot of guys that aren't necessarily developed from high school when they get here, and they develop over the years, and they build off of what this culture is and into the player they can be. So,
Brian Witzman, thanks for your time. Congratulations on going to the Jackrabbits Sports Hall of Fame.
Appreciate it.
Stater knocks home the field goal, and South Dakota State a 20-7 lead on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard.
This game on Midcoast Sports is presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University. And by Peterson Farms Seed.
Tyler Merriam, Curtis Riggs, our entire Midcoast Sports crew back here in Brookings. The Jackrabbits add a field goal, a 20-7 lead. That was a 14-play, 76-yard drive covering 8 minutes and 20 seconds. But again, the Jacks are inside the 2-yard line and have back-to-back penalties that arguably cost them points.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, without a doubt. And a 15-yard dead ball penalty. You don't even get a chance at the down again. That one extremely costly.
That was an 8-minute and 20-second drive. Mercyhurst has had the ball for just 7:44 all game. Short kick and a fair catch called for, and two different Lakers bump into each other. Teddy McDuffie Jr. made the fair catch.
Yeah, and that's what you hope for, that miscommunication for guys that aren't used to doing something they've never really been called upon to do, and the Jacks almost catch them there.
There is that time of possession stat. Remember, Mercyhurst came into today 4th in the nation in time of possession. The Jackrabbits were leading the country. Thing to keep in mind, Mercyhurst won the toss and deferred. It'll be Laker ball to start the second half.
Well, and their last drive was very productive. They got a big 4th down, and then they ended up getting a touchdown pass.
Another look at Urena behind the line of scrimmage as if he's going to receive a throwback. Instead, Trobell keeps for a couple. Mercyhurst with just 8 rushing yards so far today.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that is stable for them, but we knew that going in, and so did the Jacks also.
And 8th in the country in passing offense. And Mercyhurst is more than capable against New Haven, and its only win, 647 yards. So they can fill it up. On the delay, tripped up by McShane after just a couple, Jameer Gamble, a freshman running back. They call him Mookie, out of Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, and a well-designed play. They caught the Jacks slanting to the wide side, and they ran a counter play back to the short side and just about broke that one for a long gain.
Lakers
Big third down here.
And the Lakers are 1 of 3 on third down. 4 wides, 3 to the bottom, 1 to the top. The sellout crowd voicing its approval of the defense. Blitz on. Urena ran away from Claiborne and dives for the first down. Adam Urena for 10. That is his longest scramble of the season, matches the longest of his career at Mercyhurst. What a time to do it.
Well, and he doesn't run poorly. He just doesn't look to do it very often, though, and you could tell he's like, I got to get down here quickly. Someone is going to be coming and hitting me here soon.
And all the plays Claiborne has made, he had cloth there, and Urena was just squirrely enough to make him miss.
You'd see he's very good at stepping up into that pocket.
Here is Urena again, lined up. Almost 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Trobell fakes the handoff to Rodriguez, keeps himself, and runs into Joe Ullman and Chase Van Tol. The 2 linebackers meet him after 2 yards.
Yeah, and we're not going to see a double pass. And the reason we're not going to is because as soon as they go into that formation, the Jacks bring another defender up to the line of scrimmage, and they shoot him through right away. So there's no way Mercyhurst would even try to attempt to throw one out to him. But it's effective for them because they're taking another defender out there with them.
Becomes that numbers game, doesn't it? So Gamble is the back. They also have the tight end Wilson up back right. And Gamble got swallowed up. 2 defensive linemen, Logan Green and Blake Leiferman.
And you can tell it's not their strength, but there's reasons why they have to do this. They're, one, trying to burn that clock down to the half because they get the ball first, as you said, second half. 2, they want to keep their defense off. Their defense has been out there a long time this first half out in the sun.
There's 2:10 on the game clock and 15 on the play clock, so the Lakers would not need to snap this on 3rd and 8. I'm surprised they're ready to. And they do indeed snap it. Urena, and the play's blown dead. Maybe they didn't get it off.
Prior to the snap, 2-minute timeout.
Boy, lucky for Urena, because Logan Green was just about to get another sack.
And there you see Claiborne shaking his head. 2-minute timeout, Mercyhurst 3rd and long when you return to Brookings. Coming up at the break, we'll have our Meet Our Jacks segment with a young man from Northeast South Dakota who is majoring in dairy manufacturing. And we'll learn more about Tyler Sealing, who did something only a very select group of college golfers have ever accomplished. We'll have all that, plus our Avera first half highlights, stats, and the thoughts of Curtis Riggs. It's all coming up on our halftime show. So we are back to action with a 3rd and 8 for Mercyhurst. The Lakers are 2 out of 4 on 3rd downs, one of those conversions moments ago. Jacks bring a delayed blitz. Urena floats one over the middle, and it's intercepted. Receiver fell down. Jaden Oliver collects the INT and returns it to the 36-yard line of Mercyhurst.
Well, and we'll see on the replay here, Claiborne should get an asterisk on this play for the reason this ball gets picked off. Watch him come around here. They loop him around. Here he comes. I mean, imagine being Urena and seeing him run full speed straight at you. You know, that's not a pleasant. That is one of the unpleasant parts of being a quarterback right there.
Oliver, who wears a Cuban link necklace that his family gave him a few years back, never takes it off, comes up with his 2nd interception of the year, returns at 24 yards.
The previous play is under further review.
So Clive Townsend, our replay official, wants to look at something.
I don't know if there's a targeting or the spot of the ball would be the only 2 things.
Now, we are not the Atlantic Coast Conference, so we do not have the direct communication of things. Here's a look at Urena.
Well, one thing could be, did Claiborne go in with the front of his helmet down at Urena here? And we'll get a good shot right here. Yes, does he put his helmet down on the crown of his helmet? Does that hit just because he lets up too? But does the crown of his helmet go into Urena for a targeting? It would really be disappointing if they followed through with this, because yeah, as he pulled up too on that.
Well, again, you cannot lead with the crown of your helmet while making forcible contact to the head or
After
neck
review,
area.
the ruling on the field of no targeting is upheld. It'll be 1st down, South Dakota State.
Yeah, and that is what they were looking at. I think, you know, if Claiborne would have finished that tackle and took Urena to the ground, he would have gotten flagged for that.
So 2nd turnover of the day for Mercyhurst. The Jackrabbit defense hands the offense the ball at the 36-yard line. Not only do they stop the Lakers, but they get a short field.
Yeah, and plenty of time also here. On that targeting call, though, I can guarantee Dan Jackson, Coach Jackson, was holding his breath going, oh, please, we don't want to lose that guy.
It's Basinger on the carry for 5 more. It's 5 rushes, 24 yards for the freshman back.
Well, and we saw them start to mix him in and some of the other backs in that Drake game.
Corey Blair Jr., who was a part of that, in fact, had his first collegiate touchdown, out with an injury today, not in uniform. Mason with a good pocket. And another diving catch. Graham Goring with his 4th reception of the afternoon.
And again, great job reaching out, getting that with his hands. You'll see Mason's thrown to a spot here, and he just brings Goring back. Great catch.
Subtle thing, too, when you're looking back as a receiver into that area, that's where the sun can really be a factor as well.
Yeah, that's not easy.
Garcia Castaneda breaks multiple tackles, and he's inside the 5, down near the 2. How about the effort after the catch?
You sense the excitement right there. Fans are really starting to get more of a taste of him now at the receiver spot.
Jacks go tempo. And Basinger ran into Mason as he went to make that throw, and it was just a play that was off kilter as far as the timing is concerned.
Well, and it would have been a walk-in touchdown. It was a great read, great call. Castaneda would have gone in for an easy touchdown there, though.
So the Jackrabbits are back in the Integra Cooperative red zone, where they have cashed in on all 3 of their previous trips. It's the hand of Shane Willenbring on the football at the 2-yard line. Gustad is to Mason's right. Basinger behind the QB. My goodness, 3 Lakers were in the backfield for Basinger that time.
Well, someone was wrong there, because the line, you watch the line, they all go to the right, and Basinger goes to the left. And I mean, that's usually about time one of the linemen go, hey, you might want to follow us.
Lang, Fleischud, Beckwith. Someone was wrong. I was going to say someone was right. 10 others were wrong.
Yeah.
So here is 3rd down and goal from inside the 5. Bullock, the motion man. Mason puts it on the turf, then dives back on it at the 10.
And this is frustrating. And this is what we saw the first game of the year, too. We had the bad snaps. This one, though, is a catchable ball. That's just Chase being a little sloppy
South
there
Dakota
with
State.
it.
That's their second and a half.
Second time in a row here, the Jacks get inside the 5. The previous trip, they have the back-to-back penalties. That takes away a potential touchdown. They have to settle for a field goal. Then here, you have the discombobulation on the potential screen touchdown where Basinger and Mason collide. Then the drop on the snap, and the Jacks appear to be once again settling for 3.
Well, and the first drive of the game, too, it was 3rd and 4. They missed that slant route for a 1st down. So you look at the 3rd down, having to resort to 3 field goals. The positive, they're making the field goals. Okay, they're executing on special teams. The downfall, though, is they got to finish these drives.
Before the field goal, let's take a moment with Sanford Health.
Building a career at Sanford Health is about even more than great pay and comprehensive benefits. It's also about doing good every day. Join us to start a career with purpose. Because no matter what you do here, you'll be changing lives.
Stater has made twice already today, and before he had a chance to kick it, Ryan Remedio called timeout.
Timeout. Mercyhurst. That's their first of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Well, they always say you don't want to go to half with those. I mean, there's no reason to keep them. So let's try to use them, and how can we utilize this situation for future situations that you might run into in the season.
Stater has made from 36 and 25 today. The grad student from Cedar Grove, Wisconsin. Again, he was an NAIA All-American at Northwestern College of Iowa. He had a year of eligibility, but didn't intend on using it. He had an interview with an insurance company lined up. He was mowing his yard, and Dan Jackson called and said, what do you think about coming out? And we've had some injuries in our kicking unit.
Is that like Major League? I don't know. I got a guy on line 3 who wants some white. Yeah, I mean, just, I can't imagine getting that call.
Stater's kick is on the way, and it is good. He is 3 for 3 here in the opening half, and South Dakota State has a 23-7 halftime advantage. The Jackrabbits outgained the Lakers 224-97 here in the first half. They forced 2 turnovers. We're 6 of 9 on third down. But again, you feel like points left on the field with a 16-point edge here at the break.
And really not the way you want to go into half, too. Yeah, you get the field goal, but really should have came away with a touchdown there.
Dan Jackson, the head coach of South Dakota State, will join us here in just a moment as the Jackrabbits will take a 16-point lead into the locker room. And Coach, to begin with, your defense has held Mercyhurst under 100 yards, a pair of turnovers. Have to be happy with what you've seen on that side of the football.
They shouldn't have 50 yards. So we're giving them some things here and there. We can play better that way. I do like the takeaways. Those are huge momentum-changing plays for us.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you, guys.
Dan Jackson, the head coach of South Dakota State, you can sense his frustration and also the high demand he has for his program. As we go to break, it's SDSU with a 23-7 lead over the Lakers. Stadium and second-ranked South Dakota State a 23-7 advantage over the Lakers of Mercyhurst. Great to have you with us here today. And of course, every week at halftime, we like to take a moment to talk about some of the student athletes, either current or past, who have made an impact around SDSU and the communities. And here's a young man from the northeast part of the Mount Rushmore State who will make a lasting impact in dairy manufacturing.
My name is Raul Baronis. I'm from Brookings, South Dakota. I'm studying dairy manufacturing with a microbiology specialization at South Dakota State. I decided to come to SDSU because it was one of the only programs nearby home that had a dairy manufacturing program. It was a great program by the looks of it, and it just seemed fun. I chose my major because it seemed like a great opportunity for me to apply what I learned during FFA and put it into a real job. I'm a tech service intern on the cheese side at Valley Queen. It's more of a research and development side of things. It's very interesting and cool to see all like the in-depth of like how the processes of getting to make a product. I definitely believe that with the knowledge and skills I'm gaining with all these classes at SDSU, I can make a difference, whether that's a small difference with like saving water or even a big difference with making a new product. What interests me specifically about the dairy world is just how like complex it is. It isn't like simple as many people might think. For cheese, for example, there's many different bacteria or just cultures that we add to the cheese that might give it like a different flavor, a different like just texture. It's just like super cool, like sciencey things that I'm just super interested in. Right now, what I really love about my field of study is just how like small the classes are. It can be more one-on-one with the teachers. It's just a great opportunity for me to be able to know the teachers well, get that connection going, and be able to rely on them if I'm in trouble or need help. This last year, I was the state vice president for South Dakota in FFA, and what I did mostly was be able to go out to different chapters or towns and share with students and members that it doesn't matter who you are, anybody and everybody can be involved in agriculture. I like to go to the Jacksonville games, and the student section there is just like electrifying. All the touchdowns, the band playing, the pride, it's amazing all around. So for me, post-graduating SDSU, I would love to work here at Valley Queen, whether that's on the cheese side, in tech services, or anywhere else, to be honest.
South Dakota State University.
The pride of the Dakota's marching band entertaining this sellout crowd at the break. South Dakota State a 23-7 lead over the Lakers of Mercyhurst. We're coming up on the end of the month of September, but the month started for SDSU athletics with a golfer on the men's side doing something that fewer than 25 have ever done in the history of collegiate golf. Shoot a 60. Here's more on that young man.
My name is Tyler Sealing, and I'm from Breezy Point, Minnesota. The thing about South Dakota State that made me want to come here, I think, was mainly had to do a lot with it was my only Division I offer. I went to a lot of other Division II schools for visits and saw the facilities here, and they just like really didn't compare. We have this great facility that we're able to get better through 12 months a year, and we got BCC that we're able to get good at too during the not winter months. So it's great. We have TrackMan, GC Quad, all that high-tech equipment that we can help to get our swings better.
Tyler Sealing came to South Dakota State and averaged just under 77 strokes per round as a freshman. It took just 1 year to improve his score by over 3 shots per 18 holes.
I think it just has a lot to do with hard work. I mean, came in as a freshman, didn't really know exactly how to practice the right way, I would say, and learned through the coaches and some of the older guys while I was here.
Flash forward to his senior year. In just his second round of the season on August 31st, Sealing matched the NCAA single-round record by shooting 60, also good for 12 under par.
It was fun. I was just having a lot of fun out there. I was kind of in flow state, I would say. When I was on the course that day, everything was just kind of going my way. I was just making sure I was getting putts to the hole and they were going in.
The previous program record was also under Seeling's name, which he recorded at the Summit League Championships in April. It's something about the big stage that brings out his greatest.
I'm always at my best when I'm under pressure, I think, and when people are there watching me. At the Summit League, I think I probably had 15 people there watching me, family and friends. So I think it just has to do with like pressure of having people watching you, the big moments. I think that's when I play my best.
It's year 4 together for Seeling and head coach Parker Edens at South Dakota State, and the two have established a special bond.
Just by being there for me, I know, Parker has been through all of this. He's played golf at a very high level. So, just to have his experiences that he can share with me and what he's been through, everything that I've been through so far in my college golf career, he's also been through, so he can relate to everything. So I think that's helped a lot.
With an upperclassman-led roster here in the 2025-2026 season, Seeling has one goal in mind.
To win, I think winning is the biggest thing for me. I just love to win. I mean, even if we get second, I'm not exactly thrilled. So I think winning is a big thing for me.
Our thanks to Austin Singer and Brent Bowen for putting that package together for us. That was on men's golf. Now the women's golf team will actually be home in Larchwood, Iowa for a fall invitational coming up on Saturday and Sunday. The SDSU cross-country team will be home on Friday for its only event in Brookings during the course of this fall. Equestrian will have its first event coming up at home this week as well. That's on top of soccer and volleyball, who each opened up Summit League competition with impressive victories on Thursday. And you have the Jackrabbit football team opening up Missouri Valley Football Conference competition as SDSU will hit the road next Saturday to take on the Penguins of Youngstown State. And don't forget, all of conference competition you can watch on the Summit League Network, powered by Midco Sports Plus. We'll have more of our halftime show, including highlights and the thought of Curtis Riggs, in just a moment. You're watching Jackrabbit football on Mid-7. South Dakota State leading Mercyhurst on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard with the Hall of Famer Curtis Riggs. I'm Tyler Merriam, and I feel like we've seen this play out before, Curtis, of the Jackrabbits statistically dominating the first half, yet only lead 23-7.
Yeah, they're dominating in time of possession and statistically dominating. It's just a timely fashion of when they're making critical mistakes. They're 6 of 9 on third down conversions, but they've been costly ones they haven't been able to convert, and then just some sloppy play in the red zone. They're 4 of 4 in red zone conversions, but that's with some field goals. Let's have a look at the first half highlights brought to you by Avera Orthopedics. And it starts with the Jackrabbits through the air and Alex Bullock. Yeah, and it's good to see some other guys stepping up at that position besides Ogrowski. Yeah, Bullock unable to make that particular catch, but then he does make this one. What an adjustment. Yeah, great play. He's made some other really good catches, as long as Goring, too. Then Kobe Claiborne introducing himself to Adam Urena. It would not be the only time number 94 would meet number 16. And then Urena steps up, and this was a terrific throw to Van Dyke for their touchdown. Yeah, and he had a big fourth down conversion right before that, too, that led to this scoring drive that you could sense Dan Jackson was not happy about. And the great play design at Ogrowski all alone in the left flat. Yeah, and this was set up in the first quarter. They just waited. Right time, come back to it. Second of Mercyhurst, 2 turnovers. Jaden Oliver, the big return of the INT, leading to an SDSU field goal. But again, the last 2 Jackrabbit drives, they are inside the 5-yard line and make mistakes, one on penalties and then one as far as just being unable to execute properly. So they leave a couple of points on the field, still lead 23-7. And as you said, the biggest number offensively might be the third down efficiency. They're 6 out of 9. Yeah, and you're right. They had a costly dead ball penalty that moved them back, and then the next drive they don't execute on a walk-in touchdown, and then they fumble a snap after that. And these are the sloppy things you got to clean up, because you're not going to get a lot of opportunity in Missouri Valley play. Only 3 Valley teams in action today, this game and then 1 conference game. As we look at our Missouri Valley Football Conference scoreboard, North Dakota State hosting South Dakota, and the Bison are taking care of things. How about that performance by Cole Payton in a 51-3 NDSU lead? Yeah, and I think the thing that's baffling for a lot of fans is the lack of production with Bauman in the passing game. They have not been able to get that going in that USD offense. I think that's pretty expected of the Bison. Cole Payton, he's going to have a lot of productivity. It's going to be minimal attempts and a high completion percentage.
So North Dakota State taking care of South Dakota in the first and only conference game this week. Again, everybody else is off. The Jackrabbits will be at Youngstown State to open up conference play next Saturday in what should be a very entertaining game in the northeast part of the state of Ohio. We should have an entertaining second half. It's 23-7 SDSU, but Mercyhurst receives the second half kickoff when you come back.
Thanks for watching the
Dykhouse Stadium. Give me your first half thoughts, Curtis. How do you feel the Jackrabbit offense has performed despite the 2 failures there late in the half inside the red zone?
I think they've been better. I do. I think they're more efficient. You know, the run game would be the one thing that you're kind of questioning, but they're being tempted to throw. They're throwing, and they're throwing at a very high percentage.
And again, knowing that Chase Mason is going to be making more calls at the line of scrimmage, you feel like he's made a step forward as quarterback in the first half?
Well, it's hard to say because we don't know if he's making the right checks in the run game.
That's fair.
You know what he's doing there, but protection-wise, they've been very good, and he really has not had to run much.
Harrington second half kickoff, returnable for Woods, a yard deep. And Jason Woods weaving his way near the 21-yard line. A 21-yard return will set the Lakers up. Mercyhurst in the Northeast Conference. Now the FCS maximum for scholarships is 63. The Northeast Conference has a max of 45, but a school like Mercyhurst, you can do some things with academics, and a lot of programs do this, where you can stack those scholarships and get more out of them than what that number would indicate.
Yeah, you see it a lot at NAIA Division II schools will do the same thing. So they'll take what their max scholarships are, break them up, and get more bang for their buck.
Urena, a quick throw, and he floats one to the far side to Van Dyke, who hauls it in. That's 5 receptions for Van Dyke, who had 11 coming into today.
Yeah, that was a long throw, and I'm surprised Urena didn't have to crow hop into that one. That ball was in the air for a long time.
Just waiting for the third base coach to wave the runner around on that.
Yeah, where is he?
Second down and 7. More movement before the snap.
False start. Offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Freshman tight end Camden Lewis.
One thing we've seen the Jacks work on
second down
over the bye week is with their cadence, they've done a lot of the double clap. And that's new. That's something that it takes a lot of practice. People aren't really thinking about it. It doesn't affect anything, but it's something that it's off rhythm for those linemen.
And that's kind of an Eric Eidsness specialty, too, as the snap back. Urena had to get rid of this quickly on the screen, and my goodness, Jalen Lee blew that up, the 4th-year junior out of Wentzville, Missouri.
Wow, that's good instincts, great coaching. He went downhill right away, saw Urena turn. He knew exactly where to go, and the receiver came right to him.
He was twice All-Missouri as both a wide receiver and a cornerback in the St. Louis area. And here is Mercyhurst, 2 out of 5 on third downs in the opening stanza. Needing 13. McShane doesn't come. St. Just able to bring down the quarterback. Noah St. Just from Clearwater, Florida. Born in Montreal, his first language is French, but in any language, that's a quarterback sack.
Yeah, and you could see Urena didn't want to dump down to the running back, Rodriguez, who was open, but it wouldn't have been a first down. He tries to get around, and just the element of not being a runner goes down fairly easy, and an easy sack there.
First sack of the game for either team. It's a good look at Garrett
That's
McGuire.
surprising there. The Jacks have had a lot of pressure.
McGuire, an athletic grab, and that might have gotten tipped. It bounces into the hands of Miles Taylor, who works his way to the 42-yard line. Need to see this again. McGuire had to jump for it, and it threw off his timing. So I'm not sure if one of those hands SDSU had near it actually tipped the football, or if McGuire just rushing it didn't allow him to get off as clean of a punt as he would have liked.
Well, and it's a good job by Castaneda for getting it. Looks like it goes under it, but
Yeah.
Castaneda, if he doesn't field that, that's probably going to roll another 15 yards.
Casey Larson, who blocked a punt at Montana State, had his hand near it as well. Loffridge on the quick hitter, and he got popped a couple of times there. Timmy Fleischud, the first man, the outside linebacker from Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and it looked like there's a big hole for him to run through, and Fleischud just comes out of nowhere and hits him from the side, takes him down immediately.
Jake Miller, Kyler Lang also there as well. So call it 2 for Loffridge. Here's your pre-snap shifting with Gannon 88, Bullock 84, realigning to the right along with Garcia Castaneda, who motions back to the left. Mason didn't have what he wanted, so he'll run and gain 4. Good decision making there, right?
It was, and he couldn't quite get a hold of the ball either. He knew he was late on the quick hitch route. Then he couldn't really gather to run. And so it's, I got to protect the ball first. You see, he kind of loses it right there. Then he gets it in. And let's just get a few yards and a manageable 3rd down here.
Again, the Jacks today on 3rd down, 6 out of 9. They were 9 of 37 in the first 3 games. So a big step up. Needing 4. And a nice catch by Bullock. And again, 2 things. Not only the ball behind him, but he's looking right back into the sun.
Yeah, that sun's going to be tough there. But you can see weakness right now. Throwing it, Chase to his open side, meaning his right side where his hips are already open. He's pulling those receivers back. And it's been pretty common. When he throws to that close side, that left side, he puts that one right on the money. So that's something Coach Eisnes and he will really break down.
How hard is that to fix?
Well, it's not. It's just he's got to step a little more into that window that he's throwing to. It's just he has such a live arm.
Loffridge, the quick hitter to the 18, and then the 605 Hawks just start barreling him forward. At one point, there's going to be a Jackrabbit running back who suffers a kidney injury because one of those Hawks comes up from behind and wallops him trying to shove him forward.
Yeah, and let's hope not, but you're right. But that's the nature of the game now. It's now they can help the ball carrier move. It used to be a penalty if they tried to do that.
5th trip inside the 20 for South Dakota State. This time it's Smith who started in the backfield. Early movement from Mercyhurst, and Smith is wide open for a touchdown.
I mean, I'm just going to say, Mercyhurst, I'm not sure how they have not talked about this play.
Defense, number 6. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, it's a touchdown.
That is the first collegiate score for number 19 out of Sioux Falls, Jack Smith, who was no stranger to the end zone during his time as a Lincoln Patriot.
Yeah, he had an unbelievable high school career. It's great to see him get a score. He was the utility Swiss Army knife. I saw that kid in high school do everything. Well-deserved touchdown, but again, the scheme, Coach Eisnes drawing it up, and Mercier's 0 adaptation to that play.
Just to complete the thought, as Smith, beg your pardon, it's Stater with the extra point. Smith, 217 receptions, 3,242 yards, and 43 touchdowns. That is the definition of a decorated high school career, and he gives the Jacks a 30-7 lead.
This game on Midco Sports is presented by Sanford Health, the exclusive orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Jackrabbits.
With Curtis Riggs, I'm Tyler Merriam on the Integra Cooperative Scoreboard. South Dakota State 30, Mercyhurst 7. Curtis, it's a good thing that Max Pelham holds as well as punts for South Dakota State, because the last time he punted in a game was the 4th quarter at Montana State. Didn't punt against Drake. Bye week last week. Hasn't punted so far today. He's getting winded down there. We've got to get him going here.
Yeah, they had to find another position for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
He's got to earn a scholarship.
The Jacks have scored on every drive today. 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and obviously Dan Jackson feels like they should have had more. There is Pelham. Good to see he's around still. He is holding again on the PATs and field goals. As the kickoff by Ryan Harrington. And Jason Woods tripped up. Let me tell you, the impact on special teams that 44 Casey Larson is having is indeed real. He had the blocked punt at Montana State, an excellent tackle there on the return, and the Jackrabbits are on defense with a 23-point lead when you return to Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. 30-7, South Dakota State leading Mercyhurst. We are early in the third quarter. Our Sanford Health Injury Report, team physician Dr. Chad Kurtenbach. And we talked about the SDSU depth at running back. Corey Blair Jr., freshman from Kernersville, North Carolina. 6 carries for 50 yards, including a 42-yarder. Had an impressive first touchdown run against Drake and dealing with an injury, so he's not available today. So we've seen more of Basinger, and he's been impressive.
Yeah, I think we kind of probably got him in trouble there because coaches are going to wonder, why aren't you over there in the offensive meeting listening and gathering, absorbing as much info as possible?
From the 13, Urena, a good pocket, and that is almost intercepted, and Lee had it taken away from him by Dylan Evans.
Yeah, nice job by Evans reaching back and grabbing that, saving Urena, but very easily could have been an interception. Good pocket to throw from there, though.
And Evans, how about the concentration to wrestle that away and do it with a foot in bounds? Evans has had at least 5 catches in each of the first 4 games. That was number 4 today. Out of Orchard Park, New York. Running left is Trobell. Flag is down. McShane runs down the running back at the 43. It'd be 18 yards if it stands.
Ooh, and Kobe Brett's got caught here. He takes a poor angle and pays the price for it, but he's the one that's got to be there to meet the ball carrier and make that tackle.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
Well, and he gets saved on that. You'll see, watch. 25's got to be right there, make that tackle, and it's just he doesn't expect the speed of the running back and overestimates or underestimates and a poor angle because of it.
Adam Urena, who has a twin brother, a wide receiver on the team, Austin. 2 years at Citrus College in California, 3rd year at Mercyhurst. And the quarterback hands it off to Trobell, who immediately sprinted left as if he was running away from a ghost for a 2-yard gain. He took that ball, made 1 step forward, and it just looked like he was afraid of what he was getting into and went around the corner.
Yeah, I think there was a big push there by the defensive line of the Jacks.
Three wides left on 2nd and long. Urena on the rollout. Caught in bounds and then diving for the boundary is Davison. And they'll mark him down at the 32. Remember, when you lift off the ground, you do not get forward progress out of bounds. If you're in bounds, you can stretch it forward, but when you leave the field of play, it's where it was when you left.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's exactly what they mark him with there. That's a nice job.
Mercyhurst on 3rd downs, 2 out of 6. They need 3. Trobell to the left of Urena. Now they shift, so Trobell will take the snap. And he just kept going and ends up with a first down. Trobell sort of hid underneath the blockers, bounced off of one of his own men, and ends up with a 4-yard gain and a first down.
Yeah, and you're calling this play because you know you're going to go for it on 4th down, because this has not been a real successful play for them up to this point. So they're thinking we'll get 1 or 2 and we'll come back 4th down and get the rest, but they get it all in one chunk.
Midway point of the 3rd. The Jackrabbits a 23-point lead, having scored on every possession so far today. Jacks do not blitz. Trobell ran right into McShane. That was a collision up to the 41. That's a 5-yard gain for Brian Trobell, who is the Northeast Conference's leading rusher. He also led DuPage out of Illinois to a junior college national championship back in 2022.
Yeah, and probably the quietest game we've heard from McShane Really, I think first time we've called his name tonight, and usually he's 2 yards in the backfield when he meets that running back, and there they get a positive gain out of it.
And nothing McShane does is quiet. 2nd down and 5. Here's the shift again, so it'll be a snap to Trobell. He'll hand it to Urena, who throws it back to Trobell, and he overshot it.
Oh, and they had it. They had it. This is a one-shot per game opportunity here. They go to the short side with it because you know you can clear out the safety, and they just hand off to the quarterback, and he throws back to the tailback, and they get the matchup they want. See him leak out there. The Jacks cover, it's just he's faster than the linebacker.
The largest video board in the FCS. This sellout crowd. Great atmosphere on a picture-perfect Saturday in Brookings. 4 men come. Urena tried to squeeze through pressure, and he simply could not do it. Logan Green and Dawson Ripperda meet at the quarterback.
Yeah, nice job by Green to come back. A lot of times defensive linemen get upfield and they struggle to get back as the quarterback works to try to take off. Green comes off the block. Great job to finish that.
2nd sack today, 11th on the season for the Jackrabbits, who are 8th in the country in quarterback sacks.
Now you got to watch a fake here, and you got to watch the ball trying to get an easy 5 to put themselves in a manageable 4th down situation.
And right now it is 4th and 7. McGuire. And a fair catch called for by Miles Taylor at the 30. It's only a 31-yard punt. 5:30, 3rd quarter on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard. It's SDSU out in front.
This game on Midcoast Sports is presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different.
Mentioned earlier, Mercyhurst, the Road Warriors, opened the year at Youngstown. That's a pretty easy drive, 98 miles. Then had a home game, then flew to Sacramento, California, flew back to Erie, Pennsylvania, flew to Bozeman, Montana, flew back to Erie. Then they made the short trip as far as flights go, 846 miles. They flew to Sioux Falls, came up here today for the game. So you're talking nearly 10,000 miles of non-conference travel, and that takes a toll on them.
It does. I mean, you imagine the changes of conference now. Teams like, USC going in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean, the mileage they're adding on, it's expensive for these universities.
It's taxing, too, as Mason rolls out. And, boy, that was another seed. And in self-defense, the catch made by Goring for 12 yards. And you can teach a lot of things. You cannot teach the miles per hour that Chase Mason can put on that football.
And it's effortless, too. I mean, it's not like he's trying to do that. It just naturally happens. And we saw that the first time he came in to the academy and threw. I got to commend, though, Goring has done just a great job. You can see he's really worked on trying to catch the ball with his hands and not letting that ball hit his chest.
6th reception today for Goring.
See how easy he just whips that out there.
Ooh, and Fleischhood took some friendly fire there. Number 1, Timmy Fleischhood, the outside linebacker. He is the one who is down. Mercyhurst lost one of its starting safeties, J.C. Cloutier, on the opening kickoff. And now 2 Lakers rammed into one another. And Fleischhood down. Here's one more look. It's Braylon Beckwith, the safety.
Catches him from the side, too. That's difficult part there.
Kyler Lang, number 9, is the Mercyhurst player who was on his knee. Well, South Dakota State has won 31 consecutive games at home. That is the longest active streak in the FCS. North Dakota State about to make it official at 15 in the number 3 position there. And you look around again, the Jackrabbits, they've been as successful at Villanova, NDSU, and USD, but what is it about this place, in your opinion, that makes it so tough for opposing schools?
Well, it's the fans, for sure. I think the way that Coach Stigemeyer said, here's the Here's the MO for how you build a successful team, and that being in the trenches on the offensive line and defense. We got to have depth and rotate. We got to always be fresh and great. But the thing that was really surprising to me, that was 2 conferences. 2 conferences, 5 teams just from 2 conferences. And boy, it's going to be exciting when NDSU comes here, because you know that's going to be something that's going to get put up in their locker room.
Well, part of this story here, we discussed Mercyhurst travel a minute ago, is the fact that the Lakers are transitioning into Division I. So they were founded back in 1926. It was a women's-only school. It transitioned to co-ed back in the 1960s. First football game wasn't until 1981. They spent more than a decade in Division III, transitioned to Division II, and then a year and a half ago accepted an invite to join the Northeast Conference in all sports. And then there's a 4-year transition process. Longtime Jackrabbit fans know all about that. And so Mercyhurst played its first FCS game a year ago, had 4 wins. 3 of those came against non-Division I programs, though, and then they'll be eligible for the FCS playoffs in 2028. So this is a process, but they're adding sports. Had a chance to talk to their athletic director and president yesterday, and they are just very excited about where this program is going. They're building momentum, and again, in this day and age, to add sports, to have this excitement, it's really cool to see.
It is, and to have the opportunity, I mean, you know, the South Dakota State goes to Montana State and plays and talks about what an incredible environment to go and play. The coach can say, hey, look at this. This is what it's all about right here. And then to come play here and see all the fans for this game. What a great opportunity to get paid, playing great facilities, and say these are the building blocks of where we need to get to.
Talking with a couple of their administrators, and one of them said that we make it a point, one of the key things we talk about in our motto is being hospitable, having great hospitality. And she said the hospitality here in South Dakota, Sioux Falls, Brookings, has just been great, and they enjoyed their time. That was before the game, of course, and now here we are for the second time today. We have stopped play because Mercyhurst has had an injury. And this is one other item, too, I don't think we talk about enough, Curtis, is the teams practice and go through things. The athletic training staffs and the team doctors, they know how to handle situations like this and take every precaution when necessary, and they work together. You see the Jackrabbit staff, the Lakers staff, members of the sports medicine team, the operations crew here at SDSU. They all are following protocols and working together, because the last thing you want to do is make a bad situation worse. They're going to do everything they need to do to ensure that they can take care of this young man in the best way possible.
Right. You see Dr. Valentine and Kurtenbach out there assisting, helping 2 of the Sanford doctors, helping Mercyhurst out, because you know, you're traveling. You don't have everything that you're accustomed to. They're able to be right there and say, hey, this is what we can offer, this is what we can do to help, and hopefully the young man's okay.
While Timmy Fleischhood is being attended to down on the field, we do have a final from Fargo, and we will be able to show you that with our Willikers standings scoreboard check here. North Dakota State will be 1-0 in the Missouri Valley, USD 0-1, and certainly one game does not a conference slate make, but it's a great start for NDSU, and you just had a sense the Bison, despite being undefeated at #1 in the country, had reasons to have a chip on its shoulder because of how they lost to USD at the end of last year. And I'm sure Tim Polisek said, hey, everybody out there is saying we haven't played anybody yet.
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity to prove oneself, and boy, did they take advantage of it.
Yeah, and he might not have used USD beat us last year at home on our place, but you're right. It would be everyone saying we haven't played anyone, we're not very good, not as good as what the scores are indicating. I think they showed today they're definitely for real, and you're right. One loss does not dictate anything, because we've seen 5-loss teams get in before, and the Missouri Valley Conference shows it's always going to represent, have quite a few teams in, but you never like to start to add those up in that column.
There's no question about that. And again, the Jackrabbits will be at Youngstown State to open league play next weekend, and then host Northern Iowa on Hobodale. You'll be able to watch that here on Midco Sports. And they visit Murray State, and NDSU comes to town to end October. Meanwhile, this Mercyhurst team will be home with Long Island coming up next week. Just a different schedule for them as they take care of things in the Northeast Conference. Timmy Fleischhood is on a stretcher and being lifted onto the back of the vehicle, and he'll be taken care of by medical personnel. There's always an ambulance on site for all of these games. Now members of the Mercyhurst team, as you see the Jackrabbit crowd applauding, and now the Lakers coming out to provide their support for their fallen comrade. See at the bottom of the screen, Verl Valentine tapped one of the Laker players on the back. I mean, again, that's what it's all about. You lose sight of that sometimes because you want teams to win football games, but there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, the difficult process, too, people don't think about is he's a long ways from home. Yeah, and you know, depending on what's going to happen here, he's going to get excellent care, you know that. But it changes because the teams, they fly home right after the game.
Yep.
They don't wait around. They go. And, you know, this alters a lot of things, a lot of moving parts.
You know, in situations like this, one of the best things that you can always hear when you're the home team putting on an event is that, hey, so-and-so made it to the bus. He's going to get to fly home with the team. And just makes you feel good that at least you know that's one less issue for that individual and the family to contend with. As Mason's pass is caught, and there goes Graham Goring. Will he be caught? Inside the 10, finally run down.
Yeah, he knew he needed the ball in the left arm so he could stiff arm, but he knew it'd slow him down if he tried to switch. But really good fake here, nice job, good play design. And again, Chase Mason just whips that ball there, and Goring this time makes him pay for giving him some space.
Longest reception of Goring's career. He had 6 catches in the first 3 games. That is his 7th today. In the Integra Cooperative red zone, it's Basinger. Following the lead of Will Pepke down to the 1.
Yeah, and Pepke probably turned around and said, how did you not get in? I got in. Come on. And I mean, but a good job just getting right behind him and just barely misses out there.
He'll get another crack. And powering his way in. What effort by James Basinger for his 2nd career score.
Yeah, and a great finish. That was all him right there. Nice job capitalizing and getting in the end zone.
Is that the Oklahoma drill when it's one-on-one?
Pretty much. That's exactly what it was, yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, just 2 guys collide, and who's going to win?
Basinger's 5'10", 200. Travell Wright is 5'11", 235. So Basinger's given up 35 pounds and simply wouldn't be denied. So the Jackrabbits, 7 possessions, 7 scores today. And the Stater PAT is good. James Basinger, who only had Division II offers entering his senior season of high school in the Denver area. But again, came on strong, was a late bloomer, and then you see the glimpses here, and he used improvement week in a big way, and then that's a big moment right there because that's not just running through a hole. I mean, that impresses everybody when they watch the video on Sunday and Monday.
Well, and it's getting tough yards. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's getting tough yards, and more importantly, unlike the first half, it's finishing and capitalizing and getting the touchdown rather than having to rely on a field goal.
Let me throw one other thing out here that can get lost in all of this. Eli Stater had some issues in the first 3 games of the season. It was only 3 of 7 in field goals. He's made 3 field goals. He's made every PAT. It's not something that will capture headlines, but that is a significant scenario.
Yeah, it's one of those things that is so critical in Missouri Valley play. You have to be willing to sometimes accept field goals, just like you sometimes have to be willing, hey, it's okay to punt in this situation. Field position is huge in conference play, and so you want to be money in those types of scenarios.
Harrington to Woods at the 6. And Larson again. First man there who dove in was Cody Cotton. And then Larson laid another lick.
Yeah, and you always want those special team gurus, the guys that you know are, I mean, even in the NFL it's so important now. They have Pro Bowl players for that position, and he's definitely earned that so far at this point in the season.
All right, I'll date myself a little bit. The first one I ever remember was Steve Tasker.
Oh yeah, the big bubble helmet too, right? Yeah, that's how everyone remembered him. He did that on purpose. Yeah.
Mercyhurst from its own 15. Urena with Jameer Gamble, the back. Reception made and just not a lot there. Those throws to the far side, Urena just hasn't gotten a lot on.
Yeah, and he's got to flip his hips all the way around, make that throw. The ball's in the air for a long time. It's really a scary play that a DB doesn't pick it off, but even in not picking it off, they tackle him quickly.
Braden Black had the catch. It's a gain of 3. Urena jumped over a man and then ends up going down. We'll see if it's technically a sack or not based upon where exactly things are spotted. But reaching the quarterback for South Dakota State was Luke Kremke, the freshman from Sioux Falls.
Yeah, Kremke's great player, also from Lincoln like Jack Smith. But Spellman, he's the one that Urena jumps over, but you see him pop up and be the first to celebrate with Kremke's for getting that sack.
What is it with guys jumping over guys and getting sacks this year?
Yeah. Is that Van Tol that we saw earlier?
Yes.
Yeah.
3 men come. Urena's pass incomplete as bodies hit the deck. Joe Kerbacher ended up on the turf along with Bryce Johnson, the man covering him.
And Kerbach's had a frustrating day so far for him. You can see he's hobbled. He's limping off the field there.
They just kind of tripped over each other. Garrett McGuire punted 6 times in the first 4 games of the season. This will be his 4th punt today. Boy, just unique rotation of the oblong spheroid off McGuire's foot as it goes out of bounds on the far side.
Well, and they're going to get a first down here. The Jacks had too many on the field. And anytime there's confusion like there was, hey, get off, hey, stay on, hey, get off, that's probably a signal you should be using a timeout there. I don't know if it's an automatic first, though, for the illegal participation here.
Officials trying to sort this out.
They're not sure either. Yeah.
Dan Jackson talking with one of our officials. Is everything being sorted out here? What the penalty is and what the mark-off is, as Curtis alluded to.
I think the Chains got ahead of themselves by taking off, not seeing the flag. It was on the opposite side of the field. Yeah, I think they're talking to the sideline crew.
While they're sorting this out, a look back, Curtis, is how we've gotten to this point with the Jackrabbits on offense. SDSU has cashed in on every possession it has had so far today.
Illegal substitution, 12 players in formation for the receiving team. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 4th down.
So they'll replay 4th down. Curtis, here's the drive chart again for South Dakota State. And certainly you feel like missed opportunities there where they could have scored touchdown and a couple of field goals. But as Brian Bergstrom loves to say on the defensive side, you want possessions to not end in a kick. And that's the case for South Dakota State offensively, field goals and touchdowns.
Yeah, they haven't had to punt today. And you and I can sit here and say, 2 for sure, those field goals should have been touchdowns. And even the first one, a 3rd and 4, and they had the slant route ricocheted off the receiver's hands. A very catchable situation there. So they've been very productive. Just want to keep cleaning those up, though.
So again, that discussion was about whether the 5-yard penalty would be added on to the end of the kick or if they would re-kick. Mercyhurst opting to re-kick. And this actually takes a good Laker bounce. And then because it's been touched, it's a free ball, so Taylor picks it up. That actually is a smart play by Miles Taylor from the standpoint of he can't lose the possession, but when you have multiple bodies around, you're putting yourself in danger.
Yeah, there's no why grab that right there. I don't know the benefit of that situation. You're right. When he gets touched, he can grab it, and there can't be a fumble.
Yes.
But right here in this situation, there's not a lot of positives that are going to happen when he's bent over to grab that.
Yeah, that is one of those unique rules, as we said. Once the ball is touched by the punting team, if it's not downed, the receiving team has a free chance at it, essentially, but you don't want to take that free chance when there's 4 bodies around you. Mason with a nice move kept the play alive, and Braden Delahoy then took a punishing hit from Elijah Benakonski.
Not sure how that's not taunting, but this is the same play we've seen for 2 touchdowns. They just finally covered it, and Chase Mason then goes to the 3rd option on it.
Mason career highs for touchdown passes and completions.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
It's Quentin Christensen who is called for the infraction.
Yeah, and it is an RPO for him. And it takes so long as Chase goes to the 3rd option. Some of the linemen are starting to get downfield, probably thinking Chase is going to run.
That's a big hit from Benakonski out of Jeanette, Pennsylvania. So 1st and 15, Jackrabbits have been flagged 5 times today for 35 yards. Pregame in the back, picks up the blitz. Mason takes off and runs into the waiting arms of the same Benakonski.
Yeah, they had good coverage. Nowhere really to go with the ball. Usually you expect him to be a little more aggressive running the ball. He seems very protective with it, which is probably a good situation, though.
Pregame did a great blitz pickup if Mason stays in the pocket. And then when he took off, he ran right into the defender, Benakonski, that the running back had picked up. So 2nd and 15. Here comes the blitz. The screen could have been intercepted, and instead, James Basinger nearly picks up a 1st down.
Yeah, they call it for the right situation. They get the blitz. It's just Mercyhurst reads it. They should pick it off, and they miss the opportunity there.
To the 47-yard line.
What might have been.
You log that many miles, there's probably a lot of those.
Ramon McAndrews was one of the defensive linemen there.
Timeout, South Dakota State. It's their 1st of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Jacks take a timeout here in the final minute of the 3rd quarter. Chase Mason today, 19 of 25 for 285 yards and 3 touchdowns. And like you said, we don't know exactly the breakdown of things because we don't know every little nitpicking situation that Eric Isis is looking for, but he put more on Mason's plate this week, coming off of improvement week. And based on the numbers and the fact that the Jacks have not had a scenario where they've had to punt, other than maybe the one drive where he got discombobulated a couple of times there, bumping into Basinger and then dropping the snap. Really can't find much negative for number 7.
No, I think he's played outstanding, and I would say, you know, going 4 games into the season, he's way ahead of what people expected. I think, you know, they thought there might be a little more timing issue, a little more sloppy play. Probably didn't expect that high of a completion percentage too.
3rd and 2. Basinger And he's close to it. In fact, he got it. And there's one where you talked about some young running backs would be trying to feel their way through in that situation. On 3rd and short, he hit the hole hard and picks up the first down.
Yeah, or he puts that left foot in the ground and gets going for the first down. Usually bounce outside. You know, that youth thinks they can outrun everyone. That was a mature, good decision right there.
Jacks would not have to snap this, but they are lining up to do so. Delahoyte and Alpers realigned 2 tights right. Flag down as Basinger got hit in the hole and ran through the arm tackle of Travell Wright for close to 3. And Delahoyte hobbling off the field.
Offside. Defense, number 17. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
The nose, Colin Sheridan committing the infraction as Delahoyte being looked at here on the near side. That tight end group just has not been able to stay healthy for South Dakota State.
Yeah, that's probably the 4th offsides by Mercyhurst just because of alignment, not
That's
being
the
drawn
end of the 3rd quarter of play.
offsides.
So 3 quarters in the books here in Brookings. And when we come back, one of the newest members of the Jackrabbits Sports Hall of Fame, the Wizard, Jake Wieneke, joins us when you come back. It's all South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame that was enshrined Jake Wieneke, the most prolific pass catcher in South Dakota State and Missouri Valley Football Conference history. 288 receptions, 5,157 receiving yards, and 59 touchdowns. And the man we know as the Wizard is here with Curtis Riggs and yours truly, Tyler Merriam. Welcome back, Jake.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it.
How are you?
Doing great. It's been fun. It was a fun day. Getting to watch some Jackrabbit football and see a whole bunch of people that I love and be here with my family. So
Mason's pass just over the outstretched arm of Graham Goring. You are somebody who's been involved. You know, we talked with Brian Witzman earlier. He doesn't get back as often. To be so involved, to see the constant growth of this program, what's it meant to you?
It's funny. I mean, I was here. My little brother Clark's here. Mikey Daniel, Luke Sellers, a couple guys in my brother's class, and we were walking through the facility even before, and even how they're kind of Coach Rogers changed the way they even come out, and it's just like it's kind of a whole nother level, and just like a lot of small changes, but yeah, it's just even the confidence, and I think the belief that they have just in their team is pretty special.
A little different than that green painted dirt you used to play on here as the pass is incomplete.
Yeah, it was actually fun even looking across at the double crown over there that we used to practice on, and it's just a different world. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And these days you are in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yep, we're down in Lincoln, Nebraska. We're missionaries on campus at the University of Nebraska.
You say we, you and your wife.
Yeah, me and my wife, and we got 4 kids, and we're down there in Lincoln, and we're loving it.
And Israel, the oldest, has become a big Jackrabbit football fan of the past, too, right?
Yeah, he loves the Jacks. He's actually been to every national championship game,
awesome,
even when we lost. And yeah, he loves the Jacks.
On 3rd down, Mason's pass is caught. Diving for the first down is Goring. 7 receptions. He's over 100 yards. This a career day for the Iowa City native.
Yeah, he's stepped up today. He's done a phenomenal job. We talked a lot about how he's been using his hands just like that right there. Doing a great job reaching out, getting that ball.
Who's the quarterback that you played with, whether it's high school, college, pro, who threw the hardest? Because we talk so much about the velocity of Chase Mason.
That's a funny question, because I like it when they don't throw it hard.
Mason will scamper out of bounds after a gain of 5. You got to have a retort, Curtis.
Well, I know what he's saying, because you talk about, you watch Chase, and I marvel at how the receivers so much out of the way to bring that ball in, because you're right. I mean, it's just difficult when it's got that sauce on it.
I'm playing some intramural flag football with some students. I'm the quarterback. And let's just say I'm a very receiver-friendly quarterback. I'm going to put it nice and softly for them and not make them work too hard for it, hopefully.
Taryn Christian told me he just always threw it out there no matter where it was. It was a perfect throw to you because you could get it no matter where it was.
Yeah, when he throws it to Dallas Goddard, Just throw it anywhere, he'll catch it.
Inside the 10 and diving for the pylon was Sammy Dressy. That is his first career collegiate reception. He leaked out the far side and ends up at the 3-yard line. That's 31 yards and goal to go for South Dakota State.
Yeah, very similar to that same play we've seen have success against them.
Well, SDSU is 6 of 6 on scoring opportunities inside the 20-yard line. This trip number 7 in the Integra Cooperative red zone.
The ruling on the field is the runner was out at the 3-yard line. Previous plays under further review.
So while we review this play, you know, watching some of those highlights of your career at the Hall of Fame and whatnot, the one that stands out to me is how many games in a row you caught a pass, and it just speaks to the ability to game in, game out, perform consistently. What do you attribute that to?
Man, it's funny. I think the longer I played football, the more I realized just how much goes into a receiver having even a catch or having a big game. And it's funny because the first thing I thought of when you said that was my first ever CFL game. I had 0 targets and 0 catches. And I'm like, wow, this hasn't ever happened. And it just kind of made me realize, like, actually how much goes into a receiver even having a catch. And it goes from the center snapping into the quarterback making the O-line blocking, the other receivers running the right routes, the quarterback making the throw and actually deciding to throw to you, and then and before that, even the coach actually deciding to have a play that you're an option. And so I think there's just so much that goes into a receiver.
After review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 5-yard line. It'll be first and goal, South Dakota State.
All right, first and goal at the 5. How about just the atmosphere of this place? We were talking before the game, sellout crowd and the beautiful day. And what does this mean to you to come back and see all this?
It's funny. Actually, one of our friends, she actually was a missionary with us at Nebraska last year. Now she's here at South Dakota State. And I gave her a tip. I was like, you got to go over to this east stands when it gets cold because the sun's going to be on you. And I was like, back in the day when I would come back, even right after I graduated, there'd be no one in those east stands on those cold December playoff games. And now it seems like it might be a little different.
Boy, how about the effort of Brendan Begeman to find his way into the end zone, the third-year sophomore from Selby, South Dakota.
Yeah, Coach Jackson's got to be pleased finishing drives this second half. You could sense he was a little distraught at halftime, and they've come out and completed all their drives. Jake, you had a great career in the CFL. The difference, though, going and playing that, it take a little while to learn to adjust. All those guys in motion, more players.
Yeah, there's definitely some differences, some big ones. I mean, I think 3 downs instead of 4 downs is probably the biggest. Yeah. And then I loved the receivers get a running start. Everyone off the ball, so if you're playing in the slot, pretty much you get a running start, and that was just awesome. I had so much fun doing it.
I love the end zone, too.
Yeah, the big end zone.
Media.
So on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard, it is all South Dakota State on a Hall of Fame weekend. Second-ranked South Dakota State, a 44-7 lead over Mercyhurst on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard. Opening minutes of the 4th and final quarter. Tyler Merriam, Curtis Riggs, and our special guest here in the booth, the former Jackrabbit who went into the Hall of Fame earlier on today, that being Jake Winicky. And as we discuss things here and just how your career has played out, favorite moment, favorite game, what stands out to you?
I actually got asked this question earlier, and it was by some former players that played. I played with a lot of them, like my freshman year, they were seniors. And we talked about just like, kind of like we talked about earlier with the double crown and like the different facilities. And I think some of those times, even working out in Frost Arena, where you would practice in Swiftel, and just some funny things like that just kind of bond you and draw you close as a team that'll really stick out, I think.
For those that may not be aware of what you're talking about with the Swiftel, before the indoor facility, the Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex was built, there were times that you'd have to find anywhere you could to practice indoors, and sometimes the Swiftel Center was getting ready to host a rodeo, and there'd be dirt on the floor, and you guys are down there running rounds.
Yeah. Yep.
Built character, right?
Yep.
They faked the reverse, and staying with the play and making the tackle for South Dakota State was Jaden Oliver. But he held it a little too long, it looked like.
Yeah,
that's the flags.
That throwing motion's usually going to get you a flag there.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, out of bounds, kicking team, number 1, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic, first down, Mercyhurst. Timeout on the field.
Jake, can you hang around a little bit longer?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll continue our conversation with Jackrabbit Sports Hall of Famer Jake Winicki in just a moment. It is Mercyhurst ball. All South Dakota State today on a Hall of Fame weekend as the Jacks trying to round out non-conference with a perfect 4-0 mark alongside the Hall of Famer Curtis Riggs. I'm Tyler Merriam, another Hall of Famer. There's one of us that's not like the other up here. Jake Winicki has joined us. And so, Jake, as we continue this conversation here, and John Stiglmeyer, the head coach of this program for so long, a legend, rightfully so. What did he mean to you? What did you learn from Stig?
Oh, I learned so much from Stig. I love Stig so much. And I think one of the biggest things I learned from him is what it actually looks like to be just consistent in every aspect of your life. And whether he was coaching, whether he was home with his family, whether he sees someone in the community, he was always just the same. He was who he said he was. And he's just an amazing man of God, amazing mentor. And he really, I know, shaped me and so many of my teammates where we came in as young kids, and he shaped us into men who are ready for this world.
Who else did you learn the most from when it comes to becoming the high caliber of wideout that you were?
As far as football-wise?
Yes.
I mean, so both my coaches when I was here, Coach Davis and Coach Arnheim, just amazing men, amazing coaches. And I had Coach Davis for my first 3 years, and something that was so special about him, I was actually talking about it with Witz earlier, about just he was a dog. He was, obviously he played here, he was really good, but he would play pickup basketball with us. He would come and he'd put his cleats on and during practice and run one-on-ones with the DBs. And I was like, man, like, I want to be like him. And then also he just taught me so much just about the game and how to get better and be the best receiver that I could be.
Well, you had way more athleticism than him. But boy, he had a lot of dog in him. I saw him play in college, and you're right. I mean, every play was like the game-winning play for him because he came to the Storm to try out, and I thought, this is Josh Davis. This is him. And right away, you saw him just fiery, trying to win every battle, and that's great. He could carry that over to his players.
Oh, yeah. I miss those days of just playing some pickup basketball with him, and I would always guard him, he would guard me, and he's my coach, and we'd be getting after it. So that was so much fun, and nobody wanted to win more than him.
Have you followed him at Fresno State now?
I haven't followed and seen how the team was doing, but me and him stay in contact, so we talk often, and he had a huge impact on me in my career and playing, and same with Coach Arnheim, another great coach, and still in contact with him as well.
Urena on third down. And just nothing there. The Jackrabbit defense, St. Just, first man on the scene. Also there for the SDSU defense, Miles Green, the freshman corner, to force a punt. You have 4 little ones now. Israel's the oldest. How old?
5.
So he's 5. What's it like being a dad?
Oh, it's amazing. It's the best thing ever. I think it's pretty special coming back here too, especially with Israel, who's the oldest, and he just loves football. He wants to be on the field the whole game, just watching, being around the guys. And I think one of my favorite things about being a dad is just that imitation, how they want to do and they do what we do. And so one, it's a great responsibility, and we also just got to be wise in that and shape how we want them to be by the way that we act, because they say and do the things that we do all the time.
Well, Jake, congratulations on being the newest member of the Jackrabbit Sports Hall of Fame. Thanks for your time. Go enjoy the rest of this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. All South Dakota State in Brookings.
This game on Midco Sports is presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University. And by Peterson Farms Seed.
All South Dakota State in this final non-conference tilt for the Jackrabbits before they head to Youngstown next week to begin Missouri Valley Football Conference play. And SDSU will send in its second quarterback of the day, Luke Marble. He is a redshirt freshman out of Smyrna, Georgia, the northwestern Atlanta suburb. He's a big guy too, 6'4". And he will give to Pregame, who will get about a yard. Marble spent last year as a redshirt at Northern Illinois with Eric Eidsness as the offensive coordinator, so he came here, a 3-time team captain in high school, and we talk about the depth at other positions. Valuable opportunity here for Luke Marble.
Well, and you're getting someone that's got FBS reps, you know, FBS competition, that's really something that you can't replace.
Marble, the swing route to Basinger. And he's out across the 45 for a first down. That's a pickup of 12.
Oh, great job blocking by Jack Smith there, too. That's, boy, it's such a scary feeling being that receiver. You're engaged, you're blocking, watch, and you're wondering if the running back's going to run right up your back on your legs or what's going to happen. You have no idea. You just got to keep blocking the entire time.
10 minutes left here in Brookings as Marble leading the Jackrabbits. And James Basinger gets tossed down after a couple. Another terrific crowd here at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. Another sellout, 19,034, the number that were on hand here today between the students and the great turnout for the Hall of Fame. And like you said, Curtis, it's an event Jackrabbit football game, so it doesn't matter who's on the other sideline. It's a Jackrabbit football game. We got to be there and experience this.
Yeah, a lot of times it's oh boy, they're playing them. Yeah, we got to be there for that. You know, that's not the case with the Jacks in their games.
So 2nd down and 7. Here's Basinger again. He took a big hit, and yet still might have picked up the first down in the process. Laying the lick on him was Broderick Washington out of Morgantown, West Virginia, but it is a first down for SDSU.
Yeah, you're right. He didn't see that coming, and he's able to still fall forward to get the first down, but yeah, his pad level needs to get down just a little bit there. You know, something talking to Jake and Witzman, such great men, gifted players, but the success SDSU has had during their time and currently, it's going to be really hard to start to pick people that are going to make that Hall of Fame.
Basinger runs away from trouble. And there's another big hit. That was Mark Hawkins Jr. riding Basinger to the turf after 7.
Because you would have a great idea of this. You'd be an almanac of this. It's easy to start rattling off names, but you know, you can't get them all, or it's going to take a long time to, and then that becomes a really good problem to have, but you start to feel heartfelt with it too.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago when you look at that team that Mark Gronowski had a couple of years ago. Gronowski, obviously a Big Ten quarterback, and you had NFL tackle, NFL guard, NFL tight end, 2 NFL wide receivers, and 2 NFL running backs. That's pretty impressive company.
Yeah, and with Witzman, you could say, hey, you guys almost have there's the Players Club, but there's also an NFL club.
That too.
You know, that has really been established. And now to see NFL scouts around is very common.
3rd and short coming up here for the Jacks as we hit the midway point of the 4th quarter. The program has grown in so many ways, again, in the media coverage and the ability to draw people in, and certainly the product being put out. And we even were talking about it off air a little bit of just the players you look for and the quality of what you're attempting to gain when you're recruiting has changed over the years too.
Yeah, that's a huge point, and where SDSU has done so well is still putting together a competitive team and still doing it with in-state kids too. They do a good job of having such a presence, and every kid's goal is to go play for South Dakota State.
So Teddy McDuffie Jr., the nice play to set up 4th down, and that may be one thing. We need to see how this plays out, but in the midst of all of the talk about what happened with this program in December into January, where this thing seems to be headed, you have to give Dan Jackson a tremendous amount of credit.
Oh, yeah. The naysayers, when the change was happening, I remember meeting with them and thinking, boy, you have a monster cement block on your shoulders right now. And he knew it, and he was more than willing and excited to handle it. And now to see him follow through with it is the part where you're like, boy, yeah, unbelievable job.
We talked about this, you and I, with Jake Winicky, that whenever you interact with Winicky, you leave that conversation feeling good about yourself.
You do. I mean, and you know, to say the ball was thrown anywhere around you, you catch it. I mean, he knows that's not true, and he just kind of laughs it off, and that's just how he is. He's so positive, so upbeat, and fun to be around.
And I was making that point not only in Winicky's behalf, but that's the way Dan Jackson is too. I mean, he is so invested. He's appeared at soccer games and he's appeared at volleyball matches, and he wants to win every interaction because it's important to him. He wants to invest in not just the football program, but really everything going on at SDSU.
Yeah, as we've worked with South Dakota State football on either coach association or camps or things like that at Sanford Sports, he's the first one. How do we make this the best it can possibly be? How can we be better than what it was last year?
So Marble and the Jacks go on 4th and 3. Bobbles the snap, then throws to the near side, and we'll have to see. It looks like it'll be just enough for a first down. Jack Smith made the catch right at the sticks, and it will indeed move the chains.
Yeah, and you saw him catch it and just brace himself so he didn't get pushed backwards. You know, just keep going through that. But you see Jack Smith getting involved more and more in the offense and producing.
24th first down of the day for South Dakota State. Jackrabbits a 427 to 136 advantage in total yards. And again, this is a Mercyhurst team that entered today 4th in the country in time of possession. And the Lakers are sitting on 21 minutes right now as Basinger in the flat ran through one tackle. And the pile gets held up at the 27, so 7 yards for Basinger on first down.
Yeah, and a good safe throw. Difficult task for the receivers out there having to block for that long, though.
So we go back to, in that Jackrabbit win over Drake, talking about how you couldn't get Mason out of that game and how you've had a lot of reps through 3 weeks. You have the bye week, and then you have the way this game has played out where the offense has been on the field a lot to give the defense time. Now you're able to get some extra guys in on offense. You feel like this team should be well rested and ready to go for conference play.
You do, and there's a lot of great things that came away from today. I'm getting turnovers, playing consistent football, and then getting better from first half to second half, too. I think we've seen that also.
Marble on the keeper, gets the first down, and imitates his starter, Chase Mason, by hurdling one of the signs over there on the far side of the field. Look at these ups.
Yeah, and another big quarterback, and you can see he runs well, too.
Made it look effortless, too.
Yeah, you can see why Coach Eisner said he was excited about him coming here, and then as they started to practice, seeing how well he was fitting in and picking up things.
Mercyhurst has not had an appearance in the red zone today. Jacks have seemingly lived inside the Mercyhurst 20. Basinger for 2 to the 18.
And they've just done a great job of just grinding out these drives. And it's probably one of the yards rushing wise, not one of their best games, but they've played so well offensively, though, even without the lack of production from the run game.
Well, I think the biggest stat to me, Curtis, among everything else, as the Jacks are inside the Integra Cooperative red zone, is that we have talked so much about the time of possession and third down conversion numbers not matching up. The third down conversions certainly have today. More on that after the second down play. Flags will blow it dead. The Jackrabbits on third downs today, it's been a complete flip.
Offense, number 63, 5-yard penalty, second down.
In the first 3 games, SDSU was 9 of 37 on third downs, which was the 8th worst in the country. And you see 60% of the attempts were 4 or more yards. They had a lot of third and shorts, but still, you want to be better than 7 of 15 on third and short. Today, on third downs, 9 of 13. So they have flipped this script in a huge way.
Yeah, and that 4 of 8, that one is what's really discouraging, because that is very doable there. You're okay in that situation.
Brendan Begeman in space. And look at him pinball his way down to the 5, and he still isn't through. Begeman to the 3 for 15 yards.
thing I like with these other running backs, you feel like it's a competitive atmosphere. They're all coming in saying, I should be the #2 guy, or, I should be out on the field a little bit more. They're fighting for that time and showing that when they step out here.
How many running backs, not fullbacks, running backs that won the state shot put competition?
I don't think I would be able to list one.
Well, now you can, Begeman.
Yeah.
On top of that, he ran for 6,807 yards in his career, scored 42 touchdowns in his senior year for the Selby Lions. He's out, and Basinger in. And here is Basinger. That was a nice cut, wasn't it?
Smooth, very subtle too, effortless with it.
And this will likely take us to our 2-minute timeout. South Dakota State, a 3-1 advantage in total yardage.
This is the 2-minute
almost
timeout.
4-1. And it's 44-7 SDSU over Mercyhurst on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard in Brookings. Our PS Garage Doors Player of the Game, Chase Mason, the Hurley, South Dakota, 21 of 29 passing for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. He ties his career high in scoring tosses, new career bests in both completions and passing yards.
Yeah, and completions, I mean, on top of what he's already done this season, outstanding. 21-29's excellent, and he's maintained that through 4 games of keeping this very high completion percentage.
Yeah, he's going to be up over 70% and then some, and he's going to close the non-conference 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Luke Marble in at quarterback here on 2nd and goal. James Basinger behind him. Dressy the motion man. And it's Basinger right up the middle and in for a Jackrabbit touchdown.
I think the Jacks have really done a great job today of showing that they're a much better team than Mercyhurst and making sure there's no questions about it. Compared to the Drake game, I think a lot of people walked away thinking, I don't know how good Jacks are really. I think they kind of solidified that today, that, yeah, we are the #2 team in the nation for good reason.
I think maybe they heard that for 14 days.
I think that did play a part, and I'm sure the coaches used that as ammunition during that bye week.
Extra point is up and in. Curtis, the Jackrabbits have had scoring drives of 8 minutes and 20 seconds on a field goal in the 2nd quarter. And how about this drive? 14 plays, 67 yards in 9 minutes and 19 seconds.
Yeah, and the coaches love it. I just love it. I mean, you're finishing, you're driving, they can't stop you. You're pretty much having your way, and you're having to answer the call on certain things, 3rd down elements, even 4th down situations.
South Dakota State on the road next week at Youngstown State, but right here on Midco Sports, we will have Missouri Valley Football Conference competition. Murray State in its league opener in 2025 against South Dakota as the Coyotes try to bounce back from its performance today in Fargo. 2 o'clock, the coverage. Jay and Andre will have it for you on Saturday from Vermilion on Midco Sports. We invite you to join us for that. Then we'll be back with you, Curtis and I, in 2 weeks' time for Hobo Day when the Jackrabbits host Northern Iowa. We're into Valley play. Here we go, my friend.
Yeah, and a new coach at Northern Iowa, a transition, change.
That Youngstown State game next week, though, you're going to have the active rusher in the FCS that leads things among running backs in Julius Loffridge, as Woods will reach the 23-yard line, and the FCS's active career leader in rushing yards for a quarterback in Bo Brungard of Youngstown. So it's just an interesting matchup of 2 guys who have been at it for a long time. Of course, Brungard's done it all at Youngstown. He's a local hero, and Loffridge in his 1st year here at South Dakota State.
Yeah, and quarterbacks like that always scare you.
Yes.
You're having to account for something that usually you don't have to. And then even when you account for them, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to make the tackle on them.
Again, the Penguins are 3-1. They've played well in the non-conference, and that is a big game for them. And of course, you have to remember too, everybody circles SDSU coming to your place on the calendar.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, SDSU, NDSU, even USD has put themselves in that situation of those top 3 teams being, it seems like a class above, but you know how well the Missouri Valley works and how competitive it is. It's kind of like when, you know, in a bike race, when that lead bike, guy will pull away, everyone else, the group will just pull them back in, and eventually Missouri Valley teams will do that.
Alex Javadin, the sophomore out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 6 of 8 through the air on the year, the backup quarterback, in for the visitors. And his first throw is caught on the near side. Out to the 34-yard line, Braden Black, the 5th-year senior who hails from Orlando, and that will be a first down, a pickup of 10.
I mean, it's got to be nice, though, for Mercyhurst. Not the game, not the situation, but to get through, finally, these 4 road games and when they get back from this plane ride, the amount of miles that they've logged.
Mercyhurst only has 1 road game in the month of October. That is at Wagner. And second year out of 4, transitioning program, and they've got some good things going, does Ryan Remedio. This program out of Erie, Pennsylvania. It's Jonathan Askew, the sophomore tailback. He gained 6. And we'll see if Mercyhurst runs one more play or not. It will not. So an impressive cap to the non-conference for second-ranked South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits, a 51-7 defeat over the Lakers of Mercyhurst. When we come back, conversations with Chase Mason and Dan Jackson, and we'll show you the highlights of this impressive performance for SDSU.
The Jackrabbit Post-Game Show, presented by Sanford Health. Here for all, here for good.
South Dakota State, a 51-7 winner over the Lakers of Mercyhurst as the Jackrabbits cap off the 2025 non-conference slate 4-0 with Curtis Riggs. I'm Tyler Merriam, and the Jackrabbits very impressive today against a team that had caused Montana State problems, Sacramento State issues, Youngstown State some problems as well. What stood out to you about the yellow and blue?
I think some of the different elements that came into play. Graham Goring, great game, 7 catches, 101 yards. The efficiency of the offense, though, I think solidified a lot of questions people had, finishing those third downs, getting scores in the red zone.
Avera Orthopedics presents this look at our second half highlights. And here is Chase Mason, who had a career day, getting the ball out in space to Alex Bullock one again. That is one of his 6 catches.
Yeah, Bullock played very well today, too. We saw him involved, Jack Smith. A lot of guys besides Obrowski having to make a lot of the big catches.
Smith's first collegiate touchdown grab. And then from short yardage, James Basinger just running over a Laker, one of his 2 rushing touchdowns on the day.
Yeah, and you could say when the Jacks were stopped in the red zone, it was self-inflicted. It wasn't they were being stopped by the defense. It was penalties or sloppy play with the ball, and they corrected that and looked really good the second half.
19,034 the crowd today at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium watched the Jackrabbits' impressive performance against Mercyhurst. And inside the red zone, SDSU a perfect 8 of 8, and then on third downs 9 of 13. 2 numbers that needed to get better, and they certainly did.
Yeah, and then you'd be remiss to not mention 0 of 0 to not even get in the red zone. That says a lot. And the defensive front was very good again today for the Jackrabbits.
Let's talk about that. 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss from this Jackrabbit defense. And it's not one guy. Again, it's a team effort. Nobody had more than 4 tackles today.
Yeah, I think the pressure that Green that they're able to create interior is kind of unheard of for most teams. And the Jacks are able to consistently do it.
Joining us down on the field is Chase Mason, our PS Garage Doors player of the game. And Chase, congratulations. Over the last 2 weeks, I know you heard a lot about things you needed to get better at. Did you feel you improved as a team from the Drake game to today?
Yeah, we definitely took the bye week and took that to heart. Improved on the things we needed to do, clean up on the little details, and that showed today.
Explain to me how nice it is for you to have some of these guys like Ogroski and like Bullock making some of the catches they are. It must make your job, I don't want to say easy, but easier.
No, definitely. The talent on this team is top notch, and I'm just blessed to have those guys on my team.
And then you get into the mix some other characters here today. Jack Smith with his first collegiate touchdown, Garcia Castaneda. How big is it to add depth to that room?
I mean, it's just so cool seeing those guys score for the first time, especially being a Jackrabbit. It's just really cool to see those guys out there smiling and having fun.
All right, Chase, congratulations on the win. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
So South Dakota State now 4-0. We talk about Mason again. He had the one pass that could have been picked off. That's the only one in 4 games, really, that I don't know if you want to say a bad read, bad execution, but even when he throws incompletions, he's putting the ball in the right spots.
He is. He's going to the right places with it. The other thing is he didn't have to run. When he did run, he ran efficiently. He ran smart. He got down. He didn't take the needless hits that we've kind of seen build up against him, and they take a toll even on a body like his.
Let's go back to the sidelines. The head coach, Dan Jackson, is with us. I know you were a little frustrated when we chatted going into the locker room at halftime. How do you feel right now?
No frustration, just honesty, man. I'm here to tell you the truth. They should have 50 yards. No, I think we took a jump this week, which was the goal. We talked before the game and at halftime about being able to pull away from somebody and play a ton of players. And it was fun to see those guys step up when they got their shot. I mean, we got more freshmen stepping up. Casey Larson almost finished a pick, and good to see Luke Kremkes get a sack on what was his second play of his career.
From an offensive standpoint, 9 of 13 on third downs, 8 of 8 in the red zone. I know you knew those numbers going into today. That's a huge step in the right direction.
Big step, and I think there was a third down there. We ended up getting the fourth down at the end of the game, so the numbers, percentages, I guess, would even be better. But I was proud of the offense that way. We're just taking what they were giving us, too. I mean, a lot of those RPOs, should almost go as rush yards. Chase just making the right read and throwing it out there. But was excited about their efficiency in the second half, definitely.
And then from a defensive standpoint, just the depth. This team plays so well as a unit, doesn't it?
It does, and we're going to get deeper because we're going to get 2 D linemen back next week that haven't played yet this year. We need that, and then it's just fun to see us rotating so many linebackers, safeties, and corners. I really have never been a part of rotating this many guys in the secondary, but they're fresh and they're doing a good job, and I think it's given more guys value. When you play 30 guys on defense, everybody's got to be ready, and they prepare just a little bit harder.
Dan, appreciate the time, and congratulations.
Thanks, both of you guys, for your hard work.
Dan Jackson, the head coach of South Dakota State. The check is in the mail for him, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, well answered. The thing I loved is, and what I'm taking from it as a coach is, practice is competitive. I mean, if they're playing that many guys and guys know they have a chance to play, they're going to practice hard.
Well, South Dakota State is 4-0 on the season after an impressive performance today against the Lakers of Mercyhurst. Final thoughts?
Great showing. I think it's what the Jacks want to be doing going into conference play, and they got to feel good knowing big game at Youngstown.
Jackrabbits at Youngstown State on Saturday afternoon, and then we'll be back with you in 2 weeks when SDSU hosts Northern Iowa. For our producer, Carolyn Rosinski, director Chad Hunt, Curtis Riggs, and our entire Midco Sports crew, I'm Tyler Merriam. You've been watching Jackrabbit football on Midco Sports, your leader in regional sports coverage.